I am Dan Lucero. Brendan Dworzinski is here as well. It's just the two of us today. Spencer Dupuis is off today. He'll be back tomorrow. We will take you up until 6 o'clock. We will pass the baton to the Royals Baseball Network for the first of a 6-game homestand for the boys in blue off of yesterday's off day. A pivotal 3-game series against the Tampa Bay Rays, one of the hottest teams in all of baseball over the last month and a half. And the start of what we'll talk about today is the biggest week of the season to date for the Royals, both in a symbolic sense, in a proving ground sense, and yes, in a sense as it comes to a suddenly crowded American League wildcard field. Speaking of that field, we're going to talk a little bit about that. Which teams are really in it to win it? Which teams are trending up? Which teams are trending in the wrong direction? Which teams are really just kind of treading water until they can do the sell-offs that they really want to do come mid-July. Plenty of baseball to get to on today's program as we preview a very important week for the Royals, and a week that could end up defining where they go following the week. If it's a really good week or if it's a really bad one. Treading water would not be bad. It's 3 against the Rays. It's 3 against the Dodgers at home. They go 3-3 in this homestand. You'd rather have a winning homestand, but you can live with 3-3. You can live with treading water against two really good opponents, a hot opponent in Tampa and the best team in the National League coming to town. But if it's a really bad homestand, like their last one was, that could alter the trajectory of the rest of the season in a lot of different ways. So plenty of Royals chatter to get to on today's show, including a thought from ESPN about the most valuable potential trade pieces, and one Royal really high on the list, and which players who might move would benefit the Royals most. So we've got that. Lots of baseball on this Tuesday edition of the show. We're going to talk some Chiefs as well. The Athletic Football Show recently ranked the supporting casts for every quarterback in the AFC, for every team in the AFC, essentially. But offensive supporting cast, setting the quarterback aside, this includes receivers, tight ends, running backs, linemen, play callers. There's everybody but the quarterback involved in how the sausage gets made on offense. Word Anthony Sherman. And the crew on the Athletic Football Show, it's a podcast from the Athletic, Robert Mays, Derek Klassen, ranked the Chiefs along with all other AFC teams. And one of the two hosts had the Chiefs in the middle of the pack. And that feels a little low to me. And I think it feels a little low to Brendan as well. So we're going to talk about this. This is interesting. You brought this to my attention, Brendan. And a thought about maybe we're underrating, or maybe on a national scale, the supporting cast for Patrick Mahomes might have gotten to be little bit underrated.
I'm in full agreement with what you just said there. And I'm excited to dive into this because I think both hosts of that show brought up interesting points, but I also feel like there are some misconceptions about some players on this Chiefs group. So I'm excited to dig into this. Also, I want to make sure we know where the other teams in the division are. Two of them, I think, are relatively accurately placed. There is another that I think is going to spark some great debate or possibly, bewilderment on our program today.
Yes. There is one AFC West team judged to have a better supporting cast for their quarterback than the Chiefs do. And not to name names, but let's just say their quarterback is Bo Nix. So we will get into that because I do. I have some thoughts on that particular opinion. Plus, we're going to talk KU today. Some big KU basketball recruiting news earlier today. Cole Rosario has picked Kansas and will reclassify to the class of 2025. Big addition for depth on the wing to Bill Self's Jayhawks. And a great time for him to do it because today is Tuesday, which means Michael Swain is on the show with us for Jayhawk Weekly. So we'll talk to Michael of Fog.net and 24/7 Sports coming up at the bottom of the 4 o'clock hour. He's our guest today. We'll get his thoughts on that development and other developments recruiting-wise as we hit that time of the calendar when that is what there is to talk about in the world of college athletics. Plus, everything else you've come to know and love from an episode of 580 Sports Talk on a Tuesday, including our 580 Sports Talk headlines, another round of What is Wrong with You, and Random Question Tuesday as well. We want to hear from you on the show today. We'd love for you to interact with us as we go along until 6 o'clock. The text line is open throughout. Send us a text. 785-272-9429 is the number. It's 785-272-9429. You can also jump in the chat on our YouTube stream. If you're watching on YouTube, the channel is 580 Sports Talk. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. We're getting closer to that 750 mark. We added a couple yesterday. We're up to 746. Want to get you up to 750. Why don't you get us up there today? Why don't you be one of the 4 new subscribers that gets us to 750 today? Nice round number. We like round numbers here. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, why don't you go on and do it? Smash that subscribe button. Doesn't cost you a thing. Let you watch us on YouTube. And as you watch along on the live show on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, you can jump in the live chat, interact with your fellow listeners and your hosts as we go along. Mark and Paul and Ryan are in so far. We look forward to hearing from them and from more of you as we blaze a trail through the sports landscape here on this Tuesday edition of 580 Sports Talk. But let's start with the baseball, shall we? And the Royals start a 6-game homestand tonight at Kauffman Stadium. Baseball's a tricky sport to react to every day because there are so many games. There are so many series. There's 52. I went through and I counted. Every team plays 52 series in a season, give or take, depending on, you got a 4-gamer here, 3-gamer there, but it's going to be 52 series at the end of a season, 162 games. So that's why you don't overreact to one game or even one series, because you've got so much time as things go to make up for a stumble here or a losing streak there. You might get swept by a crappy team and follow it up with a sweep of a team with playoff aspirations. Just ask the Royals. That's just what happened to them. They got swept at home by the A's, which nobody saw coming, and then turned around and made short work of the Rangers on the road. And that's a struggling team, but certainly a team that came into the year with playoff aspirations in the AL West. But that's how this thing goes, right? That's how the 162-game marathon unfolds. There are ebbs and flows. That's why I always bring up the record in a week or the record in a homestand or the record on a road trip, because you have to take the big picture view of it as you go along. Otherwise, you drive yourself crazy evaluating things one win at a time or one loss at a time. But this week's homestand for the Royals is a big deal and means a little bit more for a lot of reasons. One of them is symbolic. The halfway point of the season is Thursday night. Thursday night against the Rays, or Thursday afternoon, I should say. That's a day game at the K. That's game 81 out of 162. That is the exact midway point. So this homestand bridges the gap from the first half of the Royals season to the second half of the Royals season. So it's a big deal in a symbolic sense, but it's also a big deal in the sense of how the Royals will be tested this week. The Rays come to town first. They are 27-14 in their last 41 games. This kind of happened out of nowhere. They started pretty sluggishly. The Royals swept them in Tampa. I believe that was the end of April. And they were 16-21 at one point, and they are now 43-35. And a big part of their success is that they have spent much less time in hotel rooms than any other team in baseball. And this was intentional. You may be aware it rains a lot in South Florida in the summer.
I have heard.
And so the intent is to not play a lot of games outdoors in Florida in the summer because you don't want to have the rain wipe out games. Well, the Rays have to play outdoors this season, which was not a problem before. Tropicana Field took a direct hit. Hurricane Milton lost its roof. They're playing at Steinbrenner Field in Tampa this year, which means they're playing their games outdoors, which means Major League Baseball accounted for that in the course of making this year's schedule. And the Rays have played 50 home games already this season as a result. 78 games, 50 of them at home. So they have had home field advantage and home bed advantage much more than any team in baseball. And I do think that has been a part of why they have been successful to this point. It has also helped them that a team that has always had strong pitching has not had to dip into their pitching reserves to this point. They have had the same 5 guys start 77 of their 78 games.
That feels like the 24 Royals, doesn't it?
A little bit, yeah. They haven't had to go to the minor leagues. And what's funny, okay, so they've got 5 guys who started all of their games. Ryan Pepio and Zach Littell have maybe been the 2 best, and the Royals aren't going to see either of them this week. But Taj Bradley's got a big fastball. Shane Baz, even though the Royals hit him pretty good, has strikeout stuff. Drew Rasmussen's also tough. Those are the 3 the Royals are going to see this week. The one other guy to make a start this year is Joe Boyle, and in his start, he threw 5 no-hit innings. So that's what the Royals, or rather the Rays, have benefited from this year. They've had the same 5 guys start all their games, and that is a huge, huge help, as the 24 Royals can attest. That's first 3 games of this homestand. Then on the back end, you have the Los Angeles Dodgers. And they have had a lot of injury calamities befall their pitching staff, but make no mistake about it, they got the best record in the National League. The Dodgers are still the Dodgers because their starting 9 is just 9 landmines. Well, okay, 8 landmines and Michael Conforto, but you get the idea. Everybody can rake in that lineup. There's no breather. There's no, good, 7, 8, 9 are up this inning. Nope. No breathers. The Dodgers are beasts. They're the best team in the National League, and I think still the best team in baseball. So that's who's coming to town. And if you want to be a playoff team, you've got to protect your home field against other playoff teams. That goes for every sport, baseball included. A winning week this week. The Royals could turn around, win a pair of series, go 4-2, maybe even sweep one, go 5-1. I think that would go a long way towards convincing the Royals, and I have to imagine it would go a long way towards convincing all of you, the fans, that this is indeed a serious playoff contender, a team that is capable not just of knocking about the wild card standings for the better part of the final 3 months, but making another push for another playoff appearance. But if the Royals fall on their faces this week and they go 1-5 or worse, which they were on their last homestand, I think that changes the trajectory of the rest of the season. I don't think it's a stretch. I do not think it's an overreaction to say that these next 6 games for the Royals may determine whether this team is a buyer at the trade deadline or if they start looking to pivot in a different direction. And I think that is a little added weight in the clubhouse, because if we can see that, if me sitting behind a microphone, behind a camera, can see, hey, it's a pretty important week of baseball, and JJ Piccolo is going to be watching pretty intently, and where they are in the standings after these 6 games, that may determine what the Royals do moving forward. If we know it, trust, they know it in that clubhouse. And so that makes for a really weighty week for the Royals as well.
And the thing that also amplifies the importance of this week is that it's not as though the schedule gets easy right after. You know, it's not like you get, okay, yeah, we got to play the Rays, who are at the top of the wild card hunt right now. Then we get the Dodgers. That's going to be difficult. But then we get the Pirates, and then we get the Marlins and the White Sox and the Rockies, and we got 12 games against those teams with a couple off days, and like, okay, we can bounce back if we have a bad week here. No, between now and the All-Star break, after this week and the 2 series we've already talked about, you go on the road to face the Mariners, who all of a sudden just mash like crazy. Cal Raleigh has all year, but that whole team is crushing the ball. They scored 7 again last night. You play them for 4. The Diamondbacks are super injured in their rotation, but they crush the baseball. The Pirates stink. They're coming to Kansas City for 3.
Quite bad unless Skeens starts. Actually, it's really funny when their 2 best starting pitchers play, they're like a terrible team, and when it's their rest of their starting pitchers are kind of just bang average.
Yeah, I'd be so mad if I was Paul Skeens. And then the final series before the All-Star game, you have 3 against the Mets, and that's at home, and the Mets aren't great, but they're not the White Sox.
No.
So this week in particular is especially important, but it's the fact that you're not getting a break after it either, and that the hits are going to keep coming, hopefully literally, but that you're going to keep facing these teams that are in the hunt, that are hoping to get back in the hunt in some cases, like Arizona possibly, like the Mets trying to stay at the forefront of the wild card in the National League or win their division possibly. The Phillies have been very good this year, generally speaking. They've had their slumps too. But like you need to set the tone here. And I agree with your point about trajectory, because if you go through these next 6 games and you go 4-2, okay, well, you have all the confidence in the world that you can go.
You're back to
split or win against the Mariners.
You're back to 500 at that point. 4-2 homestand gets you back to 500.
And you're right there in the thick of it. If you go 2-4, or God forbid 1-5, all of a sudden you are well below 500. And there's still plenty of season left. There's 3 months, but it's a lot easier to make up that kind of gap when you've got 5 months to play than when you've got really less than 3 months, because July is short.
You start counting down the games from Thursday onward. You have less baseball to play than you have already played. That's why, again, I think there's symbolic meaning to this week of games.
So if you, again, have a bad week now and then, oh, God, Mariners come after that, you drop even 2 or, again, God forbid, 3 there. I mean, suddenly you're really far out of it, and you probably do have to consider maybe we need to sell here. And you're not going to be like, oh, fire sale, we're dumping Reagans, we're dumping Witt. No, we're not talking that, but guys who aren't nailed down, who probably aren't going to be part of a competitive team next year, you go see if you can find someone who will be. Or a prospect who in 2 or 3 years is going to be that. Rebuild the farm system a little bit. You've got to make the best of the situation. You just hope that the best of it is getting more good players now as opposed to getting more maybe good players later.
Yeah, it's a tough, fine line for J.J. Piccolo to walk, because either way he decides, there's not a lot of, outside of Seth Lugo, which is obvious, there are not a lot of guys on the big league roster right now that feel like real obvious guys you would want to trade. Maybe, Carlos Estevez is a veteran. He signed for next year. It wouldn't be a urgency. He's not a rental player, so there's no like urgency to move him the same way that there might be Lugo. But there's also a scarcity in your own farm system that makes it hard to say, okay, we really need a load for Bear. We need to go get another impact bat, and we need to go get maybe another impact relief pitcher, or we need to go get 2 bats. We need to do a lot. We need to make a big impact at the trade deadline. And the Royals just don't have that resource. They don't have that sort of depth in their farm system to make those big waves. So it really is a fine line. So if they're going to commit to one thing, they got to commit all the way. And my line of thinking on this has not changed. I think as long as Bobby Witt Jr. is on your team, you owe it to him to try and be good. You owe it to him not to pull the ripcord on a season. And you also owe it to Salvador Perez, who ain't getting any younger at 35. You don't pull the plug on a season in July when you have Bobby Witt Jr. in his prime. And you know that he's a guy who is so gifted that he can put you on his back for 3 weeks and you can get hot as he gets hot. You owe it to him to try and go and add, rather than say, okay, yeah, we're just we're gonna put this year in the circular file and give another go in 2026. Because again, there's not a whole lot coming from the farm system for 2026. Like if there's help on the way for the Kansas City Royals, it's already here. It's Jack Caglione, right? And anybody else who's going to be that kind of impactful is either not in the organization right now or too far away from the major league level to feel like, oh, 2026, we're going to get this thing turned right back around. No, you got to strike while the iron is hot, and the iron's hot right now for the Royals. But again, J.J. Piccolo knows that. And if I know that, you know that, you listening know that, they know it in the Royals clubhouse. So there is added pressure, I am certain, this week on Bobby Witt Jr., on Salvador Perez, on everybody, because they know a slip this week, they already had the one inexcusable homestand. That can't happen again. That happens again, all of a sudden, you're thinking about a season that looks very different than the one you anticipated potentially when you left Surprise. Not that I think that should be the tack the Royals take, but you open that door if you stumble this week. Flip side is Play a lights out week. Go 4-2, 5-1, and show the rest of the American League, hey, yeah, remember us? Hey, we're still very much in the mix here in the American League.
One thought from the YouTube comments I would love to address here from Christopher. Hopefully they don't fall apart as the Minnesota Twins have. Yeah, the fakest part of this entire season was that Twins 13-game winning streak. You know what it got them a month later? Still behind the Royals in 4th place in the AL Central.
Yeah, man, they're getting blown out like night in and night out. And look, they all the injuries that they suffered, this kind of felt inevitable. This was going to happen eventually. They're just going to run out of guys. They were just too beat up to sustain. Like Cody Clemens was not going to hit like prime Barry Bonds for an entire season. Like he carried their offense for a week. That wasn't going to keep being a thing.
No, you're totally right about that. It is very funny though that their best and worst stretches of the season, a 13-game win streak, and now losing 10 games out of 11, that's a 14-10 stretch. That's like slightly better than average. Like that's fine. That's okay. But they couldn't be stopped for a while there. And now they're no better off than they were previously. They can't pitch, man.
No.
This past series against the Brewers, who and the Mariners yesterday, 17, 9, 9, 11. Those are the runs they've allowed.
That's not great.
They also, during this stretch, gave up 16 to the Rangers twice and 10 to the Astros.
Yeah, that kind of says it all. They really missed Pablo Lopez.
They lost games. They lost 16-4 to the Rangers, won 6-2, and then lost 16-3.
And
they had a 4-run win in a game and still lost in the aggregate in that series by 21 runs.
And as we discussed last week, that's not exactly a Rangers offense firing on all cylinders either.
No, they got swept by the Royals.
Speaking of the Twins and the rest of the teams in that AL wildcard mix, if it feels like all of them are a good week or a bad week away from being in a very similar place in the conversation as the Twins are, let's say, or a very good week from being in the same place as the Rays currently find themselves, you're probably right on that. We're going to talk about those teams that the Royals are in the mix with as we get close to the halfway point of the season here. Plus, we'll have a round of Random Question Tuesday coming up later this hour as well. We're just getting started. We got a whole mess of stuff to get to on today's show. We're glad you're with us on 580 Sports Talk. 3:32 on 580 Sports Talk. We're just getting started on this Tuesday edition. Taking you up to 6 o'clock, then we'll hand it off to the Royals Baseball Network. First pitch, 6:40 at the K tonight. Your pitching matchup, Taj Bradley for the Rays, Chris Bubich for the Royals. Royals are 38-40 going into this homestand. They are 2.5 games out of a wild card spot in the American League. They are well behind Detroit, who continues to enjoy an 8.5 game cushion on the rest of the Central. They are 10.5 up on the Royals, who are in third place entering today. The Yankees, Tigers, and Astros are your division leaders. I kind of feel like those are going to be our division winners. Yankees haven't played great of late. It turns out that Trent Grisham and Ben Rice are not actually Lou Gehrig and Babe Ruth like they hit like in the first month of the season. So the Yankees kind of petered out there. They had 29 innings in a row or something like that where they didn't score a run. But I still think they're substantially better than the rest of the AL East. I think they're going to win that division. I think Detroit has enough cushion in the Central. And out West, I just don't know who's going to go get Houston. Like maybe Seattle. I feel like they're still more over their head than not. But I don't know. I kind of feel like the division winners feel like fait accompli in the American League right now.
Yeah, there's no reason to trust the Mariners. I enjoy Mariners baseball. I enjoy Cal Raleigh. There's no reason to trust them. I mean, look at this is at this point like this is the Chargers' year to take down the Chiefs bit, but in baseball. Like, what about recent history would lead you to believe that the Mariners can usurp the Astros? Just like what realistically would make you believe that the Chargers are going to live up to these lofty expectations and usurp the Chiefs? There's just no reason to believe it until it actually happens. So I think I'm with you. No one's catching Detroit. Yeah, the East, it'd be kind of funny to watch the Yankees implode more, but I think the AL is pretty much set.
So that
at the top anyway.
So the wild card situation looks like this. Tampa Bay right now, again, 27-14 in their last 41. They're 43-35. They've got a 2.5 game cushion for a wild card spot. Toronto is somehow 41-36. They're another team that has kind of snuck up on people in that American League East, and they're sitting at 41-36. Their big free agent acquisitions this offseason were Max Scherzer and Anthony Santander, and that has been effectively like lighting money on fire for the Blue Jays, and yet here they are still 5 games over 500. They're a decent offensive team, and they pitch okay. Like, they actually have a negative run differential. I don't think they're real. I think that's the team that's going to fade.
Decent at everything, not really good, not really all that bad. Negative run differential, superstar additions, not really doing anything. Sell. I'm selling all of my Blue Jay stock. I had very little to begin with. I'm selling all of it.
Seattle is the final wild card spot going into today. They're 40-37. Cal Raleigh has 32 home runs.
So his home run last night was hilarious. They were already up 9-2. Like, why are you pitching to him? What's the point? There's no way this ends well for you. Very, very funny home run.
28-year-old catcher with a horrendous body who hit 34 home runs in 153 games last year is about to shatter Mickey Mantle's record for the most home runs in the season by a switch hitter.
Dude's built like a dishwasher.
It's just perfect.
And he just mashes.
Perfectly rectangular guy.
Yeah.
And 32 home runs already in 76 games for Seattle. It's unbelievable. Every night I look up and he's not a home run.
Yep. He's now got 5 in the last 4 games, I think.
This is like, and this might have been before your time, but this is like when Matt Williams made a run at Roger Maris in 1994. Obviously didn't get a chance to see that through because it was a strike year. But like this, wait a minute, Matt Williams? Like Matt Williams was a good very good player for a long time. But like, you didn't think of like hulking slugger Matt Williams. I mean, obviously the 90s, I don't want to insinuate. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to get out of pocket when it comes to, I don't want to accuse Matt Williams of having used questionable means to obtain a late career power spike. But we didn't know that at the time. We just want to see some dingers. And that dude was mashing taters in 1994, kind of out of nowhere.
I always think when I think of dudes coming out of nowhere, and like Cal Raleigh got a big contract
Yeah, he's been
last year.
Yeah, he's been a consistent 2 seasons, but he had 32 home runs, 34 last year, 30 the year before that. Like, he's got real power.
Yeah.
It's not a surprise a guy like that goes from 30 to 40. He's pacing to hit 60.
The guy I always think of as the out of nowhere, what the hell home run hitter, 1996, I'm sure you can guess who I'm talking about.
Brady Anderson.
Brady Anderson hysterically hit 50 home runs and was worth 6.9 wins above replacement. He finished 9th in MVP voting. Isn't that nuts?
Yes.
I mean, it's funny that Cal Raleigh's going to hit 50 and still probably finish second in MVP voting because of Judge. Although I would much rather Cal Raleigh win it. But like being that far down, hitting 50 home runs is crazy. Also, steroids. I'm not saying, I'm just saying they were all over the place.
Sprinkle a little bit of a allegedly on that. Yeah, Matt Williams hit 38 home runs in 1993. It's not like he was a nobody, but yeah, 43 home runs in 112 games the year after that.
Listen, all I'm saying is only one guy that year hit more home runs, and it was Mark McGwire. So
right. The rest of the wild card standings, Cleveland's half a game behind Seattle at 39 and 37. That's kind of what they are. Like, I don't know that they're much more than a 500-ish team. Boston traded their best hitter, and they're a 500 team. I think they're going to fade away. The Angels have the same record as the Royals, 38 and 40. That's not real. Texas is 38 and 41. They still got a bunch of like bold-faced names, guys who, they won a World Series 2 years ago. They pitch really well. I kind of lump them in with Kansas City, where one good week could have them ready to make a move, and one bad week could have them thinking, I wonder if there are any contracts we could get off. I wonder if we could maybe reload around Wyatt Langford for the future in our lineup. Minnesota, 37 and 41. They are front runners. When things are going good, they're going great. When things are going bad, they're a dumpster fire. I don't take them seriously. Baltimore's only 6.5 out, but they're 34 and 44. And seem much likelier to be sellers than buyers. So the company the Royals are keeping right now, I say all that to say this. I think you have Tampa Bay and Toronto playing a little bit above their heads. I think you have Texas underachieving. And I think you have teams like the Angels and the Red Sox and the Guardians who feel a little bit more likely to be or want to be sellers than buyers. They're going to be teams that will look at being 3.5 games out of a wild card spot, not as a opportunity to go for it, but an opportunity to take a step back and say, yeah, it's not really worth it to make this run. Let's go ahead and make some moves. So I still kind of think that the Royals are in a decent spot. Like, I don't think, obviously, you'd rather be hot like Tampa Bay and sitting in a comfortable wild card spot, but I don't think the Royals are in a bad spot. And I think they can put themselves in an even better one with a good week, even a decent week this week. They'll put themselves in an even better spot because I do expect some of those teams to fall away as we go. We'll step aside for another timeout here on 580 Sports Talk. Come back with a round of Random Question Tuesday on 580 WIBW. Question Tuesday on 580 Sports Talk. I'll go first with mine. What's something that is popular? Doesn't have to be like necessarily pop culture, like music, movies, whatever. Just something that is popular that you don't get.
Oh God.
I'll give you my answer because again, like it doesn't have to be like popular culture necessarily. Like there are a lot of songs, a lot of artists that are popular right now, and they're doing what I call depression ballads. Like all their stuff is about how they're broken people and everything is terrible, and it's I'm gonna be okay though because I'm just gonna be okay. Like that's like every Jelly Roll song is just about how I'm a garbage person and I'm broken and I'm worthless, but I'm gonna be okay. Like I understand how that does appeal to a certain audience. It's not for me, but I get that there is an audience for that.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to have that. That's not my answer. My answer is the hats with the upside down letters on them. What the hell's that all about?
I don't get it. Yeah, I don't know.
Like what's that? Like there's we were doing a lot of hat talk on the show yesterday, Spencer and I, and like I'm old fashioned. I like to wear a good, new era fitted or a 47 brand dad hat. Like I'm not a big snapback guy. I have my taste, and I understand that everybody has different tastes. But like the hats that are the hats that are just like big letters on them, or they're just the consonants without the vowels, and they're supposed to say something. Like what the hell is that? What's the upside down? Like it's not like a Cowboys hat. It was Dallas, but it was upside down. Like what's
salad?
The point? Yeah, salad. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw our buddy Chris Lilly, former sports director over at Channel 13 here in town.
Yeah.
Like Chris a lot. I saw a picture he posted on Instagram the other day with his little son, and he had a Mizzou grad, and it was Mizzou upside down. And I thought, wow, they sell Miznaz hats? And I don't understand that fashion statement. That is one I do not get.
Why? Like, why do you want people to like crane their necks and like turn their heads like a dog, like a confused dog, to look at what you have written on your hat? Like you can't wear it. Like is the idea that you wear it like a rally cap and that then the print is right side up? Like why? Why?
Yeah, that's a good one. The rope hats. That's another one.
Yeah,
I don't feeling like really into frat culture.
Yeah, I do not get the rope hats, but I wasn't in a fraternity, so like I like golf, but I wasn't in a fraternity. So, I didn't
work on a dock in 1994. So I'm not sure.
Like I get like the corduroy rope hats. Like then you could pretend like you're like Cale Yarborough in 1978 or something. Like there's a retro cool to that, I guess. But the upside, like Cale Yarborough wasn't wearing the name of his sponsor upside down. Like nobody was doing that. Like
no, it would have been wild though.
Yeah, it would have. Who's doing that? I don't get it. I mean, somebody explain that why those are cool to me.
I've got a lot. I'm only 30, but I feel like I'm gonna list off a bunch of things and feel like I'm old. I'll be obnoxious for you. I don't get the Chat GPT thing. Like Wikipedia is far more interesting, fun, and useful. Like go do that. It doesn't take that long to do a Google search.
Man, I am terrified at the preponderance of stories. Like people are falling in love with Chat GPT.
No, that's fine. Like go stay in your house and be weird and fall in love with your phone. Like that's fine. Just like stay out of my way. Please be weird elsewhere. I'm sorry if that's you. I hope you and your phone have a lovely relationship, but that's odd to me. I saw something about how employers now are just inundated with AI generated resumes all the time. Yikes. Glad I'm not making those decisions. So there's that. I'm not going to claim to know anything about fashion. Women, I don't understand the boyfriend cut jeans. I don't get them. That's very strange to me.
So that was an answer on the New York Times connections puzzle the other day. One of the groupings was kinds of jeans, and I was not aware boyfriend jeans were a thing.
Yeah, they fray at the bottom and they're kind of short and they're real baggy. I don't get it. I'm not saying it's bad. I don't get the fashion sense. Sabrina Carpenter, I don't really like. I get it. Like, oh, she's a hot blonde guy. She looks like she's 12. Like, I think it gets to a point where like it's a little weird. I don't quite get that one.
I think Please, Please, Please is a very funny bit of songwriting.
I saw the music video for what, Man-Child? Is that the name of the song? Music video. Very funny. People are like, wow, she's so hot, isn't she? I'm like, she looks 12. So no, I'm going to have to check out of that one. F1. I don't get Formula One. I will never understand.
No, I think people are pretending to like Formula One.
Our guy Swain went to the race down in Texas last year.
I'm sure going to a race is sick, but like there are never any lead changes. Like It's the same cars win every week. Yeah, the people are pretending to like
It's
F1.
3 hours of posting online, making jokes, and then Max Verstappen wins. Like, that's every Saturday when F1 races.
Christopher says TikTok trends in the YouTube comments. Says TikTok trends. Like, I get why that's cool for kids. But
all right,
not
okay.
for me.
When I was doing our high school football broadcasts, I got to Seaman one night, and this isn't a Seaman high school thing. I saw this plenty of places, but this is the one that's etched in my memory. And I'm up in the press box setting up our gear to get ready for the game. And I'm looking down, and the student section is already filling in the core, most aggressive part of the student section, most excited part of the student section. And there are girls and a couple boys too. They're setting their phones on the big stone bleachers, and then they're walking away from it, then doing like some sort of weird Carlton mashup thing. Like, guys, I can see you. God and everyone can see what you're doing, and you look ridiculous. What are you doing? I'm sorry, I sound so old, but I'm so out of touch, man. It's crazy.
Ryan in the YouTube comments says pretty much everything on YouTube is terrible except this show. Thank you, Ryan. I don't need every lonely housewife with a webcam to give me their political opinion. You know what isn't terrible on YouTube?
Fried them!
You know what isn't terrible on YouTube? Last night, I saw a video. My wife had gone to bed, and I was perusing YouTube on my television, which I do sometimes.
Uh-huh.
I know I'm not going to be up that much longer, but I want something to watch for a little bit while I look at my phone for like the last 30 minutes before I'm awake.
Mm-hmm.
Saw a video from the MLB Vault YouTube account.
Yeah.
It was like, tape measure home runs that don't get enough love, which I feel like we all love long, strong home run slams. But it's 43 minutes long, and it was some great guy remembering. Like Cecil Fielder hitting balls over the roof of the old Tiger Stadium. Yep. There were guys like Trevor Story hitting a long one at Coors Field. Some big ones from like Don Mattingly. It was like 43 minutes of guy remembering and huge dingers. And I was like, hell yeah, let's do this.
Okay, I'm actually going to do a quick pivot because we're short on time. I'll save my other question for another time. What's the last, you sort of answered it there, like the last great, mind-numbing, I could watch this all day YouTube video you watched?
It would be that one.
Yeah.
I could have watched 2 hours of tape measure home runs that don't get enough love.
The fine folks over at NFL Throwback recently posted 4+ hours of dudes chucking deep TD passes 2010 to 2019. It's 4 hours and 34 minutes. It's awesome. I do this. I'll put it up on the TV. Oh, it's incredible. There's also watched part of this the other night. How about 2 hours of long TD runs? It's just like all Chris Johnson. It's just CJ2K all over the place. It's awesome.
I
love that stuff.
I did like the 30 minutes of Nikola Jokic 2023 NBA playoff highlights. I'll put that one on every like couple of weeks or so.
What's another good one here? Every Metallica song ranked according to rateyourmusic.com. I watched that a couple days ago. Yeah. I'll watch that stuff all day long. Also, Chris Conley's student-made Star Wars film for when he was at Georgia. It's pretty good.
I believe you.
It's like 20 minutes long. It's shockingly good.
No, those compilations, like golf tours, like the DP World Tour, the PGA Tour, will occasionally put out like lucky shot compilations. Like, oh, this ball hit the rocks 3 times and somehow landed on the green 15 feet from the cup.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like Rory McIlroy hit a crappy shot, but it landed on the bridge, the footbridge between the cart path and the green. And so he's playing his second shot from the footbridge instead of having to take a drop. Like, I love those. Or like golf is hard compilations. 30 minutes of dudes hitting like the worst shots you've ever seen. Just like Bryson DeChambeau cold topping a drive at the Players Championship 3 years ago. Like, I've been there, brother. I just sit there the whole time like, wow, he swear he me. Don't look up how he did on the rest of the hole. Like, yeah, he cold topped that drive, and then he hit a 3-wood to 30 feet and 2-putted for par. I cold top a drive. You go ahead and put me down for a 6.
That's pick it up. Let's move on to the next hole shot.
Yeah, put me down for a double. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, wrap up this 3 o'clock hour with 580 Sports Talk as we continue our Chiefs countdown to kickoff. Who's number 73? Bet you don't know. I didn't either until this morning. 73 days until the Kansas City Chiefs kick off the 2025 season. And number 73 for the Chiefs is undrafted free agent offensive tackle Dalton Cooper. What do you know about Dalton Cooper? Brendan, you got anything on him?
I know it's fun to say Cooper, but I have nothing. I do not know who Dalton Cooper is. This is one that you've stumped the Schwab. I do not know Dalton Cooper.
UDFA from Oklahoma State, 6'7", 315. Really good RAS score.
Yes, his relative athletic score, which if you have not heard of that before, haven't heard us reference it before, 10 out of 10 is literally best athlete ever tested at the combine at your position. Anything above like 8.5 is really, really good.
Yeah, he got a 9.
Yeah, that's really, really good.
So, a lot of athleticism. Played a lot of football at Oklahoma State. Might be a guy who catches on with the practice squad. I don't have anything like real interesting to say about Dalton Cooper, but I thought this was interesting from Adam Teicher today. ESPN putting out their first impressions of every first-round pick. This is what Teicher wrote about Josh Simmons. Simmons has been working as the starting left tackle during offseason practices. Even though those are non-contact sessions, it still represents progress. Simmons is coming off a torn patellar injury, and his timetable for a return to play was uncertain when the Chiefs drafted him. Now, minus a setback, it appears he's on schedule to be their starter when the season begins.
Wow.
That is as definitive as we have heard. We did a lot of speculating following Andy Reid's announcement on Thursday, the final day of minicamp, that Simmons would be a full go for training camp. That is the first firm indication we have had that the job of Simmons is to lose at this point.
That's pretty crazy.
Which, remarkable recovery from what was a devastating injury suffered last season for Josh Simmons. And a really good sign for both Simmons and the Chiefs. We talk more Chiefs in the next hour. How do we rank their supporting cast around Patrick Mahomes? Plus, what is wrong with you in Jayhawk Weekly with Michael Swain on 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. Hour number 2, 580 Sports Talk on this Tuesday afternoon. Thanks for being with us on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and on video, our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, our Facebook page. Is WIBW News. Lots of ways to consume the program and however you're choosing to do so. We're glad you're with us on this Tuesday here on 580 Sports Talk. We're here with you until 6 o'clock tonight. Then we'll pass the baton to the Royals Baseball Network as the boys in blue open a 6-game homestand with the first of 3 against the Tampa Bay Rays tonight. Chris Bubich, the left-hander, on the bump for KC against TBs. Nobody calls them TB. Tampa Bay. Tell the Royals KC. Don't call Tampa Bay TB.
No, TB sounds kind of funny.
And tuberculosis kind of already stole it. Like if there were
stole their whole flow.
Yeah, if there were like a disease that had killed like millions back in like the olden times that had the initials KC, I bet we would never call Kansas City that.
That's probably true.
I feel like that might be the case. Anyway, Tampa Bay's starting pitcher tonight is Taj Bradley. 6:40 first pitch from Kauffman Stadium tonight. So we'll have pregame coverage at 6 here on your home for the Royals, 580 WIBW and FM 104.9. You can interact with the show as we go along today. The text line is 785-272-9429. If you are watching on our YouTube stream, on our 580 Sports Talk YouTube channel, there is a live chat feature. You can interact with us. You can interact with your fellow listeners as you go along throughout the show today in the live chat on YouTube. Big second hour. We got a Chiefs topic we want to get to about the Chiefs supporting cast around Patrick Mahomes. And that's the everything around Patrick Mahomes on offense, from offensive line to skill position guys to the play callers for the Chiefs. How does it compare? How does it stack up to the rest of the AFC? And a big day for KU basketball with the commitment of Cole Rosario for 2025. And we'll get Michael Swain's thoughts as he'll join us as he does every Tuesday for Jayhawk Weekly. Michael Swain of Fog.net, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. We will get Michael's thoughts on the breaking KU news of the day. But first, real quick, want to get this out of the way. Brendan, a little bit of a show business thing to, not no business like show business, show business thing to get to today.
Yeah, I wanted to let you guys know, no changes this week. We have a short show on Thursday, but it'll be Dan, myself, and the rest of the week, Spencer, for the rest of the way. But starting next week, I am going to be stepping back. You can call it a sabbatical if you'd like, from the show full time. We've got some other things here at Alpha Media Topeka and WIBW Radio that are going to require a little bit more of my attention for the next couple of months. I will not be a complete stranger. I'll be around when we've got Big 12 Media Days coverage. I'll be in studio for that. I'll be around for a number of segments, big other events. So we've got some fun remote stuff coming up in August as well. We'll be up at the Washburn Foundation Golf Tournament, which we're really excited about, early part of August. And I'll be around for that stuff, and I'll stop by now and again. I will tell you, this is not permanent. I am not full-time forever leaving the 580 Sports Talk. I would be breaking down if that was the case. But this is a situation where, to be as forthright as I can be with you, out of my control for the time being. My attention is needed elsewhere here at work. So you will be seeing less of me through the rest of the summer, hoping that we can get back in the saddle, get back in the regular swing of things sometime early in football season. There's not really a timeline on this, but just wanted you guys to know so Dan doesn't get, completely inundated with, hey, where's Brendan? Wow, this show is so much better without Brendan here over the next few months. So I will be not with you quite as often. Again, if I had my choice, this would not be happening, but sometimes that happens, and sometimes your expertise is needed in other areas. So certainly not goodbye, and I'll be around, no question about that. But just won't see quite as much of me over the next few weeks and frankly the next few months. But hopefully early on, college football season, Chiefs season, we're right back to the regular crew. So don't cry, I'm coming back, but. Just wanted to let you guys know, because you guys are as much a part of the show as myself or Dan or Spencer, and I think it's important that we are all open and honest with each other. So I'll see you the rest of the week. That's not going to change. I'll talk to you the rest of the week, but starting next week, you'll be seeing a little less of me over the next few months. But again, it's not forever.
Yeah, just a temporary deal. I know we self-deprecate a lot around here, but we really are gonna be poorer for your absence here. And we'll look forward to having you as your availability will allow here in the next little while. And we'll wait with bated breath the day when your availability is back to 100%. So we'll really look forward to that. I know that everybody listening will as well. So that's what's happening. It is not goodbye. It's a see you around, and just a temporary fix for for the greater good, I suppose you could say, around these parts. So that is the show business. So he'll be missed for the time that he is not around, but we hope that time that he is not around is very short, and we will be happy to have you. The door will remain open, and we look forward to the day when you'll be walking right back through it again full time.
Yep, and we'll have all sorts of stuff to get to whenever that is, and I'll be in and out, and whenever we're as you've noticed for you P1s out there who have been with us, the last year and a half has been a lot of who's on the air today. All right, well that's nice. So there'll still be a little bit of that, with travel and vacations and whatnot. So you'll still be seeing me. It just won't be an everyday thing for the next few months. But hopefully it's as short as possible. And everything's all squared away with everybody, every individual, every team here in our building, and we're back to normal again. Early Chiefs season, we'll have plenty to talk about. So we're going from starring role to like occasional featured guest at this point. That's how the credits would read if we had some credits rolling at the end of the show.
This is not. You are not. If this is Cheers, you are not. And Spencer is Norm. You are not Shelley Long. You are not leaving for good.
No,
you are not Shelley Long. This is just like Cliff Clavin, went to the islands for a little while.
This is like when Carla's loser husband keeps showing up. Like, it's not every episode, but like, oh yeah, that guy. Except I hope I'm not, loser husband.
No.
Yeah, it's that same kind of thing. So no, don't fret too much. It'll be a while, but I have looked exactly the same since I was about 18 years old. So that's not going to change anytime soon. You'll recognize me when I'm back. You'll recognize this voice, hopefully. So we're, that's life sometimes. We've all gone through that at work, personal life, whatever it might be. So everybody will get through whatever we need to get through on the, the backside of things here at the radio station. And we'll be all better for it here in a few months.
So that is the show business. Ryan said, "Does that make me Sam Malone?" I guess it kind of does. I guess you
were the pitcher.
Yeah, and I did. Former pitcher. I was not the level of pitcher Sam Malone was. Let's be honest. Sam Malone could bring it back in the day for the old Boston Red Sox. But that's what we'll call it. There's no Shelley Long, or what was the name of her character?
Diane.
That's right. I should have known that. That's a bad job by me.
She might be my least favorite part of Cheers. I don't really love the show anyway. I cannot stand Diane. I think that's kind of the point of her character. Mm-hmm. But God, I cannot stand her.
Yeah, you're not Diane. You're also not Frasier. We're not spinning you off into, maybe you are Frasier. We're spinning you off into something else for now. Top salad and scrambled eggs.
God, that show's so good.
But Brendan will be back. It's a short-term sabbatical, and Brendan will be back with us. But he's with us today, and we got lots to talk about here. And wanted to talk today about what you heard. You were listening to the Athletic Football Show the other day. Robert Mays, Derek Klassen. I don't catch it all the time. I like Robert Mays a lot, but there's only many hours in the day. My podcast diet it's hard to crack the lineup,
especially for a daily show.
Yes, it's hard to crack the lineup in my podcast diet. So the Athletic Football Show is a here and there, and I read Robert Mays' stuff. I think he's really good. Mm-hmm. Him and Derek Klassen do the Athletic Football Show, and they were ranking the AFC offenses minus the quarterback, essentially, is what we're talking about here. When we refer to the supporting cast for a quarterback, we're referring to everything but the quarterback. The guy who calls the plays, the offensive line. I don't know if position coaches come up here. Maybe not.
They weren't like part of the main criteria when I was listening through, but it did come up a number of times.
So if you asked me to give like a gut, like just without thinking about it too hard, where do you think the Chiefs supporting cast ranks? I would say about pretty comfortably top 5, like pretty comfortably. And given like the fact that the play caller is Andy Reid and he's an all-timer and he's going to the Hall of Fame, I'm high on the receiver group. I think the offensive line certainly has some questions, But I also think that there's a high enough floor for the offensive line given health. And maybe if Josh Simmons is healthy, all of a sudden there's a different ceiling to this offensive line than we might have previously anticipated. I would have put it pretty comfortably in the top 5, something like 3rd or 4th. Again, without thinking about it too hard. Like you want to put, there are a lot of really good skill groups that don't have good offensive lines, like Cincinnati and Houston. Obviously Buffalo doesn't have great skill guys, but certainly a good offensive line. So yeah, I would have said top 5. One of the two hosts, though, did not have the Chiefs in the top 5.
Yeah, so Robert Mays had them 3rd. He's, the head honcho of the show. He had them 3rd. Now, and as someone who listens, I wouldn't say they're my A football podcast at this point, but I listen regularly. He, I think, really, really weights play callers when they talk about offenses, almost to like a comical degree. So I'm not surprised that a team led by Andy Reid, he'd put a little bit more weight on the play caller. He said that he thinks as well, the pass catching group can be and I'm quoting here, definitive positive after a couple of years in a row of being a definitive negative. And I actually agree with him in that sentiment. I'm more bullish on the wide receiver group and the pass catchers in general than I think some folks are. Now, his co-host, Derek Klassen, he picked the Chiefs 6th in the AFC in terms of the cast around Patrick Mahomes. He said that he's got some concerns about the pass catcher group because he doesn't think there's a star among them. So, Rashee Rice is a nice player. I don't think he's a star. He's not a Xavier Worthy fan. I remember when Worthy got drafted, he said that it's just small speed guy is not his type. And okay, fine. That's a flavor thing. That's fine. And said he's got worries about the offensive line because Trey Smith is obviously very good. Creed Humphrey's elite. But is Juwan Taylor the best option at right tackle? Can Suamataia start at left guard? Is it going to be Simmons or Moore? And if it's Moore, is he good enough to play 17 weeks as your left tackle? Those were his concerns about the offensive line. He did say he thinks that the wide receiver group will be good, but added he doesn't think they have an especially high ceiling. I should also note, and this was just kind of thrown in at the end of their bit about the Chiefs, like, oh yeah, the run game might be bad, which you guys probably should have addressed a little bit more because I also am worried about the run game. But again, like if Suamataia is good or useful, that changes a lot because if you go back to this past season, the running game was always going to struggle more when you had to rely on running through quicksand Kareem Hunt versus Isaiah Pacheco. Whatever you want to say about him, he's more dynamic than Hunt is. But when they kicked Tooney outside to left tackle, they lost a lot at guard, and they lost a lot in the run game. So the theory is you have better guard play. That's going to help the run game a little bit. So all that said, Mays had them 3rd. Klassen had them 6th. I had 2 thoughts here. One, just a quick one about Rashee Rice. I've expressed already this offseason, I do have worries about how quickly he can get back to what he looked like at the start of this past season, because ACLs, you can come back in a year, but you're not always ready to go 100%. We're going to talk about the Broncos here in a second. Courtland Sutton is back to being a useful, I'd say Courtland Sutton is certifiably good.
Yeah.
His first year coming back after his ACL tear, though, he was not.
No.
He was not useful, honestly, because he couldn't get down the field. He couldn't jump. It took him a while to get all the way back. So I don't know how quickly Rice can return. I think he's a lot better than some of the folks in the NFL podcast industrial complex believe that he is. I like Derek Klassen's work a lot. He's not super high on Rice. Matt Harmon, who works for Yahoo Sports and Reception Perception, his whole thing is wide receiver scouting. He's not a big Rashee Rice fan. He's like, yeah, he's nice, but I think you have to cater a lot to him to make it work. I personally disagree. I think Rashee Rice is a legit number 1. He's not going to be Jamar Chase. He's not going to be Justin Jefferson. I think he's a legitimate number 1 who can do a lot of things for you. And he's learning from Travis Kelce. Like he's learning how to do the weird stuff that only 87 does. And if you add that to this offense, I think it's going to make a huge difference as well. So that alone, even though I've got my own concerns about Worthy, I think Travis Kelce is going to be a clearly reduced version of himself. I do like Royals. I like Juju a lot more as a 5th receiver as opposed to a 4th receiver even. I like Noah Gray. I'm more bullish on that group than I think a lot of folks are. So the big question here then, Dan, is knowing that these two guys who cover the league for a living, that's what they do. They're not like us getting sidetracked about, hey, we got baseball to talk about. Hey, we got college football to talk about. No, they do the
NFL.
3rd, I think, makes some sense. Sixth, I think, is being a little pessimistic. I guess the question is, where do you think the Chiefs land relative to the rest of the AFC? Or alternatively, how many teams are definitively, no doubt, above the Chiefs?
So I think that second question might be a little bit easier to try and tackle.
Yeah.
When you talk about which teams definitively are in better shape than the Chiefs with their offensive supporting cast, I give you Baltimore without thinking too hard about it. And I'd probably give you Cincinnati, because I don't think it's a great offensive line, but it's not like, I don't think it's as bad as like Houston's.
No, it has gotten, I think, to workable.
Yeah.
That's how I would describe it.
And obviously got 2 number 1 wide receivers and a great quarterback. Buffalo is interesting because I like their offensive line, and we love Josh Allen, but we're setting Josh Allen aside. Their wide receivers, they got a bunch of guys do the same thing. And a bunch of guys who are, have been better in theory than in practice, like Dalton Kincaid.
I think if Keon Coleman became what they hoped he would become when they drafted him, like if he went out there and had 1,000-yard season and he was like your legit outside guy, I would be comfortable putting them there because I like Shakir and what he does. Sure. But Keon Coleman was, and I liked him as a prospect, but he was not very good last year. And Kincaid has been a why are you using him like that? I don't really get Dalton Kincaid's usage there. I do like Joe Brady, though.
Yeah, they're much better in the play calling department with Joe Brady than they were with Ken Dorsey. I would go with the Chiefs either third or fourth. I Baltimore comfortably, Cincinnati comfortably, and then you could argue Buffalo. I think.
I think Buffalo for me. If I was going to give a tiebreaker to either them or the Chiefs, James Cook's really good.
Yeah.
I would go Bills. I'd put the Chiefs like comfortably in the top 4, though.
Let me ask you this about the Chiefs running game. Because we have seen Isaiah Pacheco be good, but there are legitimate questions coming off the injury that he's coming off of. Elijah Mitchell is always hurt. Rashard Smith is a 7th-round pick. Kareem Hunt is essentially Kareem Hunt is what Leroy Hoard. You remember Leroy Hoard? Yep. Leroy Hoard, the line, and I think Leroy Hoard himself was the one that gave you this line. If you need 1 yard, I'm going to get you 3. If you need 5 yards, I'm going to get you 3. Yeah. That is Kareem Hunt at this stage of his career, which, there's some utility for that, but I lay all that out to say, I think the Chiefs have the worst running back group in the AFC West. Raiders drafted Ginty. Broncos added Dobbins and their draft pick, RJ Harvey.
Yeah, I think I don't love the Broncos group, but I think they have a higher floor than the Chiefs do. Chargers dedicated a lot to running back. So I would agree with that.
Yeah. So
but I still feel as though that's a good enough group that, and there's other teams in that area that are okay. They both had the Colts in the top half. And actually I kind of agree, Michael Pittman, Alec Pierce, they drafted Hunter Warren. We talked about that with Matt Verderame yesterday. Their line is good. I like Shane Steichen as a play caller a lot. So it's hard to divorce quarterback from the rest of this because, wow, you're telling me Colts offense or Chiefs offense, all things considered? Yeah, Chiefs, no duh. But when you take the quarterback out, it does make things more difficult. I still would have no problem saying top 5. I think top 5 is pretty much locked in because if you say 6th just in the AFC, then you're talking somewhere in the range of 10th to 18th or 19th in the whole NFL. The Chiefs are better than that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who you would even Miami. I don't like their offensive line mix, and
I don't know that I love the play caller, to be honest. I don't think Mike McDaniel's bad, but he has no counterpunch.
I wouldn't put Houston above them because I think their offensive line has a much lower floor than Kansas City's floor might be low, but I think Kansas City's ceiling is higher than Houston's ceiling offensive line.
Houston had 2. I got the stat from a different football podcast, Football 301 at Yahoo. Houston had 2 guys last year in the top 10 in quick pressures allowed, so 2 seconds or quicker, really bad. You know who they replaced them with? Numbers 1 and 3 on that list. They changed their whole offensive line group and added worse players. That's crazy. And they're not going to have Tank Dell all year.
The Broncos ranked in the top 5 from both hosts. Robert Mays had them 5th. Derek Klassen had them top 3. That is a lot of credence to, 1, their offensive line, which is outstanding.
Awesome.
And 2, Sean Payton.
Yes.
Just the general idea of Sean Payton's going to make it shake. Sean Payton is still an elite play caller.
And Robert Mays even said during this episode, like, I super underrated him last year. So I admit maybe I'm putting a little too much on him this year, but like what they did with a quarterback no one thought was going to be good, pretty impressive.
Well,
and I do agree with that.
We saw what it looked like with Russell Wilson, and we thought, okay, the game's passed him by.
Yep.
Maybe he's too stubborn, and that just was Sean Payton had no desire in making Russell Wilson look good.
Yep.
Like that's what that was at the end of the day. That was an ego thing. Shocking, Sean Payton in an ego situation. But like that, the Broncos skill players to me are maybe I would put them probably bottom 10 in the league without thinking too hard.
I don't love that group. Like,
their collection of skill talent, wide receivers, running backs, tight ends, like Courtland Sutton and Evan Ingram are like aggressively fine. J.K. Dobbins gives you 3 great games a year and doesn't play the other 14.
Yeah, I probably like the wide receiver room a little bit more because I really like Mims.
Yeah,
but Mims is not even like that's a go-to slot guy because he's not.
He's a gadget
really
guy.
Yeah, he's like an advanced. He runs. He's like if McCole Hardman's potential was like recognized.
Yeah, like the best case McCole Hardman.
Yeah, best case McCole Hardman. Yeah, that's what I think. And that's a good player.
Yeah,
but
useful.
That's like a third or fourth option. I like Courtland Sutton, but he's not elite by any means. I don't know about Pat Bryant. I don't know about Vele. Like I don't know about those dudes.
Yeah.
Evan Ingram is still just idea, and running back room probably better than the Chiefs, but that doesn't mean I like it.
Yeah,
I kind of don't.
Yeah, if it's better than the Chiefs, it's not by much. But yeah, interesting that the Broncos get that much love when it comes to their supporting cast. It is. It's a big bet on their O-line, which again is out. I think it's the best in the AFC West
as pass protectors for sure.
And I think there's a chance that the Chiefs, like again, best case scenario for the Chiefs, it enters that conversation if Sumatai really is it at left guard and Simmons really is it at left tackle, and you figured out the left side of the line for the next half decade. That is, I think, maybe the storyline. Like everybody's going to talk about the Chiefs want to get more explosive. The Chiefs need to bring back the big play. If they've got the left side of their line figured out for the next half decade, look out. Like that's the thing that I think people nationally are not maybe talking about enough. We are overdue for a timeout. We're going to take a quick break here. We got Michael Swain coming up a little bit later on for Jayhawk Weekly. But first, a round of What Is Wrong With You next on 580 Sports Talk. What is wrong with you on 580 Sports Talk? It's brought to you by our buddy Mo, State Farm agent Ryan Mo Winkle. When it comes to the often confusing world of insurance, call Mo because he knows. 785-273-1572. Our current champion, yesterday's winner, the Secret Stash, woman who had syringes and fentanyl hidden inside of her. And no, not in any place that you or I, Brendan, could hide it.
Oh, this is so rank.
Yeah.
This is so gross.
Really, really bad. That's our current champion, the Secret Stash. Your story goes first today, BD. What do you got?
Let's go to Florida, Davenport in particular, where police responded to a call back on June 9th when a neighbor noticed lights on in a rental property that was previously empty. When officers arrived, they discovered 44-year-old Jocelyn Charles inside, and according to an arrest affidavit, Charles was found cooking and he had just drawn a bath. Charles allegedly told deputies he'd been using the home's water and electricity without permission. He reportedly stayed at the residence for 4 days. Why? He was trying to avoid having a fight with his wife. So he was just squatting. I don't want to go home and yell about the bills. I'm going to squat for a few days.
Just get a hotel room, brother.
He is facing charges of unarmed burglary and petty theft. According to the affidavit, police said when they entered the residence, the stove was on, the lights were going, and a cell phone was plugged into a wall outlet. The Polk County Sheriff's Office said in a statement, quote, "It's one of those things where you just have to grin and bear it."
Yeah. I mean, all right, I'm just not in the mood to fight with the old ball and chain tonight, but I don't want to pay for a couple nights at the Motel 6.
You go to the motel, you stay out late with the boys,
you
get home late, sleep on the couch, leave early. There's lots of ways you could do this, not squatting.
I'm going to break into an unoccupied house and just big chill. I'm not even going to take a bath.
I'm here. I might as well relax.
Yeah, maybe we'll get comfortable. That's wild. Wow. All right. My story today, we're going to Michigan City, Indiana. I call this story Bar Fighting for Jesus. A dispute over religion at a bar near Michigan City's lakefront exploded into several people fighting, along with an arrest. 24-year-old Blake Schwaber of Michigan City was being held in the LaPorte County Jail on $755 bond after the brawl early last Tuesday. According to police, several customers at Mady's told officers a verbally aggressive Schwaber had been wanting to fight several people disagreeing with his religious beliefs. Apparently, he is pro-Jesus. Others in the crowd may not have felt the same way that he did. What do they always tell you? Don't talk about two things you don't talk about in mixed company: politics and religion.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
That's why I bring them up on a first date.
Get them out of the way. Schwaber broke that rule. When customers were informed the bar was closing for the night, Schwaber exchanged words with the bartender and was escorted outside, where he began pedaling away on a bicycle. Very funny image. Huffily pedaling away on his bicycle. However, police said the investigation indicates Schwaber hopped off the two-wheeler and walked over to people in the parking lot asking, "Who wants some?" There were punches landed, and when officers arrived, Schwaber had a man in a headlock. Police said Schwaber was also very combative toward officers, forcing them to place restraints around his wrists and ankles. He was booked on charges of battery to a public safety official and other counts like disorderly conduct and public intoxication. But, hey, he did it all in the name of the Lord.
That's pretty good.
I'm going to introduce you to I got the Holy Trinity right here, son.
For some reason, I just envisioning him pedaling away like he's Pee Wee Herman.
I'm going to meet the Son and the Holy Spirit.
All right, who we got today?
Man, it's really funny. That guy was just squatting at somebody else's house because he didn't want to fight with the missus.
Yeah, I kind of love that story. I'm picking that one today.
Bed and breakfast and breaking and entering, Paul calls it. The Airbnb and B&E.
B&B and B&E. That's great.
That's pretty good. Yeah, man. He just didn't want to go home. But you can't break into somebody else's.
No, can't do that.
Rental property. Does that beat the Secret Stash? I'm going to lean yes.
Yeah, I think so. I think this one's a little funnier. The other one's just kind of gross.
Yeah, it's very gross. No, this is funny. This is really funny. The idea that what lengths would you go to avoid? I don't like conflict. I don't like disagreeing, having a disagreement with my wife.
No, you know what I do? I go for a walk.
Yeah,
and I come back. I don't go shack up at some other house.
three blocks down. Nobody's here. This will be perfect. I can calm myself in the waters of a soothing bath in a home that doesn't belong to me. That's our new champion on What Is Wrong With You. Brought to you by State Farm agent Ryan Mo Winkle. This is his website, Ryan Mo Winkle, MOHWINKLE.com. Michael Swain, Jayhawk Weekly, next 580 Sports Talk. We are joined on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline by Michael Swain of Fog.net, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. Become a VIP subscriber to 24/7 Sports. Get all of Michael's inside info on all things Hawks. Michael, great timing to have you on today. We got some KU basketball recruiting news to talk about. Cole Rosario reclassifies to the class of 2025 and commits to Kansas. He will be on the roster for Bill Self this coming season. First things first, what kind of player are the Jayhawks getting in Cole Rosario? Right. There's, I'm sure, another reason why he's getting Christian Brown comparisons, but I can't quite put my finger on why that might be. What is the best case scenario for his contribution to the 2025-26 Jayhawks? What does his role in an ideal world for this team look like?
What it's going to look like. It doesn't have to be super sexy or super complex. He's the type of player that I think kind of can fill that prototypical, stereotypical 3-and-D type of player. And so I think for that reason, I think that's why it's a good fit for KU, and it feels like the right type of player for what KU needs.
We're joined by Michael Swain of Fog.net. He joins us here on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline. You can find Michael's great work covering KU at Fog.net and 24/7 Sports. Go be a VIP if you're not already to get all these inside scoops about what's going on with KU before anyone else. So Cole Rosario is in the fold. That's a big get for all the reasons you outlined, Michael. What is next for the Jayhawks? They still have some roster space available. I don't know what the bankroll looks like at this point with the revenue sharing money, but what is the next goal here personnel wise for Bill Self and staff?
Yeah, I think big man is really the next thing, and then from there it's kind of just what do you have left in cash reserves? Because obviously at this point in time, the revenue sharing is how that's how you're paying players now, right? This is not an NIL payment era. Those are still happening, but you're not seeing the big lump sums that you saw earlier this offseason. So for KU, you're looking at international ranks right now. I don't think you're going to find anybody in the transfer portal. I don't think really you're going to find guys that are going to be cheap enough, right, for KU or just flat out good enough. And so you look internationally, right? There's two guys that fans should know. Paul Mbia is one. He's an international guy, initially from the Congo, went to play in France, has been there for about 2 years, played under 21 basketball, right? You got to remember in Europe, they do there's the main team, then there's usually a youth team, and the under 21 team's the youth team. And so he's played with them a little bit, was signed to NC State, then they got a guy from North Carolina. Some funny stuff with money happened, and all of a sudden, Paul Mbia is looking to go somewhere else. So KU's definitely in the mix there. KU did a Zoom call with him yesterday. We'll see where things go. He obviously has been cleared to get NCAA eligibility because he signed and NC State announced him. So there's that. Okay, then the other one is Ejay Demir, who is another international player. He is a little bit more of a complex situation. He was committed to go to UCLA in 2022, could not pass the English language test, basically. And from what I've read, like UCLA's test is kind of stupid hard. Like, I don't think people understand sometimes how silly these tests are, and it's one that is very complex. Demir knows several languages. You watch any interviews with him, he's fluent in English, but for some reason that test was hard. Now, a few years later, I've been told that he will have no issue passing said test if it is Kansas that he's able to go to. Now, the question is he's been playing pro basketball for 3 years. And as we saw with someone like Bryce Dessert, how much money has he made? That's been a big issue for the NCAA making guys eligible. And there was a reason why Dessert wasn't ruled, or why KU believed Dessert wasn't going to be ruled eligible, is because he made so much money overseas. So Demir's still going through his process. I think he's one that is still on the watch. But I think just in terms of looking at guys, like, I don't think KU can sit around and wait and let Mbia go by, waiting on Demir to get eligible, right? I think you got to take the guy that is going to be eligible and the guy that I think has plenty of upside. So obviously we'll see what happens, but right now those are the two names to know at center.
The one thing that this team is definitely going to have this year is just more athleticism. It doesn't appear on paper like there's a lot of the slow, plodding kind of athlete that, unfortunately, I thought we would have less of that this past year, but unfortunately that was, kind of plagued the team. Hunter Dickinson, obviously only so athletic. AJ Storr, not the smoothest guy, et cetera, et cetera. This year's group looks like it's going to be hyper athletic, especially when you toss in Rosario, maybe Mbia as well. When would you say, Michael, was the last time KU had a roster that was this athletic?
Oh man, that's a good question. 2017 team had some good athletes. That was definitely one. I think the 22 team, obviously, you looked at what they had on the wing, Jalen, Ochai, CB, Dave was a maybe not the most sexy athlete to watch, but I think in terms of just like movement ability, like he was decent. But no, I think it's been a while. You can look really at every spot, and I think the the athleticism is just apparent. You've got guys that can jump out of the gym. Someone like Smeeze Calderon, maybe not the most refined player at this point in time, but man, is he a good athlete, long, athletic. Like he just is the type of guy I think KU's recruiting now. You just look top to bottom. I think the last few years, KU's just been out athleted by so many teams. And I think this is kind of the type of offseason where Bill Self has kind of swung the other way, where it's like, okay, look, we may not get all the guys that can, maybe hit step backs or shoot the three really well, but man, they are guys that are long, athletic, can guard and can compete. And I think that's such a huge thing to have for him as a head coach, because it just fits who he is and what he's done and what he's had success with. So, man, I'm really excited to watch this team. Obviously, we've got a whole football season to cover and talk about and get through, but this is going to be one of the more, I think, exciting preseasons for KU, just because it's all new. Nobody knows how it's going to look. There's no players that you have preconceived opinions on, or players that you're tired of watching. It's going to be all new. Is it going to be great? I have no idea. Right, we'll have to wait and see. But I'll tell you what, it's going to be exciting to watch, and it's going to be a really interesting team to follow.
Just a couple more minutes with Michael Swain of Fog.net. He joins us every Tuesday at this time for Jayhawk Weekly on the Fleming Place Wine and Spirits hotline. And his great work can be found over at Fog.net and 24/7 Sports. Real quick, Michael, is there at this stage, and obviously over the course of, training camp, practices during the fall and in season, things can change in the starting lineup, obviously. But right now, is there any doubt about the starting five being Peterson, Council, Dawson, White, and Flory?
Here's my thing. I try not to read too much into what is being said about stuff right now, because this time last year it was AJ Storr's buying in, things look good, blah blah blah. Like sometimes it's kind of just a little too early to say. I think Marco Jackson, coming off the injury, has done a good job. I think he is someone that has earned a lot of respect around the program for the way he handled himself while being away and during what was a dysfunctional year. I think he's going to be a really key leader for KU, because he's a guy that's been around. He started games at KU, and he's someone that I think knows the standard and know what it's like to be around Bill Self. So I think if you're going to say, hey, Michael, you just named that five, right? And who's the one guy who could break into that? I think it's Marco Jackson, maybe over Jaden Dawson. I think that is maybe where it would be right now. But again, it's just, we're 3 weeks into it, almost a month into it. Like, it's just so early, and especially after last year, I'm just a little hesitant to buy in or really even look too much into that right now, because it's very much rose-tinted glasses, honeymoon phase, first impressions. Let's kind of see where things stand at the end of July, and then especially kind of September.
Couple more quick fire for you, Michael. First, did get a recruit from the football side of things as well. 3-star defensive back Robert Reddick has committed to Kansas. What kind of player Lance Leipold and the crew getting in the class of 26 with Reddick?
Yeah, he's a versatile player. Someone that, played some corner in high school, has played some safety. He's got the frame, and I think that's the biggest thing you look for. Solid 6'2". He's got the length to really put on weight. I think if you told me he ends his college career at about 205, I'd say, yeah, I could see it. He's going to have to put on weight at KU, but again, he's got the frame for it. And so the real question is, where is he going to land? Is he going to be a corner, or is he going to be a safety? I think he's going to be a safety in the end. I do wonder about some of just the hip mobility, fluid athleticism, that stuff. But man, you watch his tape, when he puts his foot in the ground and goes, he's got the athleticism that KU's looking for in the defensive backfield. So someone that has versatility, you can look across the board what KU has added in the defensive backfield in this class. J.J. Dunnigan, right? I think he could be a really, really good corner. I think he could be an all Big 12 safety. Lenny Brown could be a corner or kind of that nickel playing on the inside. Then you've got someone like Reddick who could be a corner or a safety. I think KU this year recruited a lot of guys who can play multiple spots. And as KU shifts to this kind of 4-2-5 look, you're going to need guys that can play multiple spots because you're going to need some depth that is cultivated through having versatile players. So I think overall for KU, it's a solid addition. It's not going to be one that's going to turn a lot of heads. It's not going to be super sexy, but I think you need these types of players in your class, especially when you look at the top end of the class and, some of the lengths KU went to get those players.
And then about 30 seconds here, Michael, but what can you tell us about continuing construction at David Booth Kansas Memorial Stadium? Still on track for the opener in 2 months?
Yes, it is. It's going well. I'm excited to get out there. And man, we're almost a month away from the start of camp. So be interested to see how the finishing touches look then. I was obviously out there a couple weeks ago to see it. And I've seen it throughout camp season. Stuff looks good. And so, yeah, so far so good. And things should be in a good spot for the season opener.
Michael Swain covers Kansas Jayhawk athletics for Fog.net, part of the 24/7 Sports Network. If you're a VIP subscriber, you get all of Michael's inside info on the latest with KU football and basketball. Michael joins us every Tuesday for Jayhawk Weekly. Always a pleasure. We'll do it again next week.
Awesome. Sounds good, guys. Talk to you next week.
That is Michael Swain. We will take a timeout, come back and wrap up this 4 o'clock hour. 580 Sports Talk next. .456 on 580 Sports Talk, wrapping up hour number 2.
All right, so an extension of Random Question Tuesday from earlier. You and I were discussing this in the office today. Cole Rosario, that's spelled like the store, Kohl.
That's right.
What is your favorite, in your career as a broadcaster, your favorite name pun that you've used during a game?
I got a great one for you. It was my first year doing this professionally. I was helping out on a broadcast, Legion Baseball in Wyoming, the Cody, Wyoming Cubs.
Okay.
And they had a catcher. I think he was a catcher, and his name was Daniel Sinner, Sinner.
Yeah.
I was doing color commentary on this game. He made an error in the game pretty early, and then he drove in a couple of runs later in the game with a single, and I said, that's the beautiful thing about baseball. Even a sinner can find redemption.
That's a bar.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Felt really good about that one.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I'll give a shout out to Washburn men's basketball point guard Jack Batchelor. He makes it very easy. His name is a noun.
Yes.
That's very useful. There are a lot of puns. The bachelor pad, it's a bachelor party. Oh, yeah. A lot of good ones for Jack.
Man, I'm sure I've used some good ones. I've done this a long time, so I'm sure I've come up with some pretty good ones in my time, but that was the first one that jumped to my head.
Also, not a pun, but I did use, he hit a 3 during the Central Region tournament, and I used the Steely Dan line, which was great. Yeah. Not going to hear that during many college basketball games.
No, you're sure not. KU will be very pleased if Cole's cash from behind the three-point arc often in this next season. Coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, we'll do headlines. We'll talk a little MLB trade deadline, and we'll preview game 1 of the Royals-Rays series tonight. That's all coming up in the final hour, 580 Sports Talk. Let's get it. One more hour of 580 Sports Talk on this Tuesday afternoon/evening on the Sports Voice of Kansas, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9, online at 580WIBW.com, and on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, and Facebook page, WIBW News, where you can watch us make these words that you can hear over the radio dial. However you are tuning in today, thanks for being a part of 580 Sports Talk. I want to hear from you in the YouTube chat. If you are watching on our YouTube channel, 580 Sports Talk, go subscribe to the channel if you have not already. You can also text the program, 785-272-9429. Dan Lucero, Brendan Warzinski with you today. Spencer Dupuis off today. He'll be back tomorrow. We've got one more hour of the show. Right at 6 o'clock, you'll hear the Royals Baseball Network take over these airwaves. Game one of a 3-game home series against the Tampa Bay Rays tonight at the K. Chris Bubich trying to set the tone for a crucial Royals homestand. We talked at the top. This might be, I firmly believe it is, the biggest week of the Royals season and might be the most impactful week one way or another. Maybe if they just tread water, it won't be an impactful week. But if they have a bad homestand, they go 1-5 against Tampa Bay and the Dodgers, you're going to see this team maybe change its tactics for the upcoming trade deadline at the end of July. This could be a week that convinces the Royals to be sellers if it doesn't go in a positive direction. Could be a week that convinces them to go all in if it goes in a good direction. That's the beauty of it. We don't know. We'll find out starting tonight. 6:40, the first pitch time at Kauffman Stadium. We'll again have pregame coverage here on 580 WIBW, FM 104.9 starting at 6 o'clock. We'll talk some more Royals baseball a little bit later on this hour. Have a game preview of the Royals and Rays tonight. ESPN put out their list of the top 50 most valuable players that could be traded at the trade deadline. And well, obviously we're in a situation right now where there are teams out there who might feel like they ought to be buyers today that could feel like sellers in a week, and vice versa. Like the Braves win 7 straight games, not going to start trading guys. They're going to hang in there, try to get a wild card spot, but they've dug themselves a hole and they might be sellers. Same goes for Boston. They're in kind of an either-or situation. There are a lot of teams out there, and the Royals are one of those teams. And one of their players appears on the list of the top 50 trade deadline candidates. And they're also listed as a best fit for a handful of players that we'll talk about a little bit later on this hour. But first, we begin this hour, as we do every 5 o'clock hour on the program, with our 580 Sports Talk headlines. We will start with this one from MLB Trade Rumors. This just breaking about an hour ago. Whit Merrifield announces retirement. 2-hit Whit, calling it a career. Here's the statement from Whit Merrifield per his agency, Warner Sports Management. I thought this was really good. We'll share it in full. Hey, guys, you all should know that I decided a while back to retire. When it came down to it, it was an easy decision. Many factors played a role in my decision. Wrong role, but we'll forgive Whit. He was a ball player, wasn't a published author. But the main one was a 6-pound, 6-ounce gift from God my wife and I were blessed with in March of 2024. I was never talented enough to just show up and play. Baseball required my full focus and energy for me to compete at the level I wanted to, and I realized I can no longer give that effort. At this point in life, I'd much rather chase around a toddler than chase sliders. Respect. Since I've now had some time away from the game, I've had a chance to reflect on my individual career for the first time in my life. I'm proud of myself. The toughness I developed, the things I was able to accomplish, nobody outside of my camp thought possible. I spent a lot of energy proving people wrong, but my real joy came from proving my small circle of believers right. It was a long journey and bumpy road filled with lessons, friendships, and memories. I won't miss playing, but I'll dearly miss the time spent in the locker room, show flights, late nights in hotel rooms, and my favorite part, the constant back and forth banter. Now, I'll forget most of the hits, catches, and steals, but the relationships and stories made throughout my career will stay with me forever. I was so privileged and blessed to have played in the cities I played in, Merrifield continues. KC, you became a second home to my family and I. Nothing compares to a first love. Toronto, playing for an entire country was an honor I'll never forget. He spelled honor with a U in it, like they do up north. Very, very clever touch there from Whit. Philly, I liked you way more than you liked me. Sorry I stunk for you. And Atlanta, it was the joy of a lifetime to play and end my career for my childhood team. My only baseball regret was never being able to help bring a world championship to any one of the series I played for. I loved all the moments, all the highs, and even all the lows. I'm grateful for the way this game molded me. I can't wait to tell my story to my daughter one day. What a ride. Thanks for everything, Whit Merrifield.
Good player. And, never a superstar.
3-time All-Star in 9 big league seasons. There's a lot of black ink on Whit Merrifield's baseball reference page. And what I mean by that is he led the league in a lot of stuff.
So Whit Merrifield in his career, he played, this is pretty incredible because guys don't do this anymore. 2019 through 2021, and that includes the COVID season, which, 60 games. He played every single game for 3 years. That does not happen. Guys don't do that in Major League Baseball anymore. So that's kind of cool. He led the majors in hits twice, including 206 in 2019. He led the majors in doubles in 2021, led the majors in triples in 2019, and in stolen bases in 2018 when he had 45. Also led the American League in steals twice, the American, and which is tremendous. He also led the majors in sack flies in 2021.
Yes, he did.
The Vinny Pasquantino stat. He had 12 of them.
An all-star in 2019 and 2021 with the Royals. 2019, he was a legit all-star. 2021, maybe a bit more of a token all-star that year, but still made the all-star game in 2021. Also an all-star in 2023 with the Blue Jays. Broke in as a Royal in 2016. He'd been a 9th-round pick out of the University of South Carolina, whom he had helped win a national championship.
Had the walk-off hit to win the College World Series.
A late bloomer. Didn't make his Major League debut until the age of 27, but was an immediate sensation in 2016. That was the year following the Royals championship, and they were dealing with injuries, and they called Whit Merrifield up, and it felt like every day he was getting 2 hits, which led to his nickname, 2-Hit Whit. Hit 283 as a rookie. Over the 7 years he spent with the Royals, 2016 until he was traded in 2022, Merrifield played 863 games and collected 1,001 hits in a Royals uniform. 503 runs scored, 74 home runs, 174 stolen bases, and a 286 average as a Royal. Was traded to Toronto in 2022. There were some circumstances surrounding that trade that were a bit of a tarnish, it should be said, on the end of his Royals tenure. You remember who he was traded for? You remember the 2 guys?
Was one the big potato or whatever his name was?
La Papa, Max Castillo.
Max Castillo, yeah, he sucked.
Yeah, that didn't work out.
The other one from the Blue Jays. No, I remember.
Also played for the Royals currently in the Seattle system.
In the Seattle system? No, I don't know. Oh, no, Dick Loveladies with the Mets.
No,
I don't know.
Not Dickie Lovelady. Samad Taylor.
Who had a walk-off hit of his own a couple of years ago.
Yeah, in one of his first games as a Royal.
His very first game, I believe.
So that was the trade that sent Merrifield to Toronto. He finished up 2023 with the Blue Jays. 2024 signed with Philadelphia, was not good, as he himself alluded to in his farewell letter. Was released, signed with Atlanta, played his final 42 big league games for the Braves last season, and hadn't signed with anybody, but clearly his priorities in life had shifted, and it was time to walk away. Didn't make it the 10 years. Didn't make it to 10 years of service time to get the full pension, but, Whit made pretty good money in his playing career, and if he invested it wisely, hopefully he won't miss not having gotten to the pension. And a good player, a good Royal, one of the bright spots for some really, really yucky Royals teams after the championship core had dissolved. And a ball player that you enjoy watching and rooting for, because then, you could tell, and again, he alluded to it in his farewell letter, he was a grinder. And he got, you could say, the absolute most out of the ability he had. I think you saw maximum potential realized by Whit Merrifield. Not everybody can say that.
So he made $35 million in his career. So yeah, pretty nice.
Yeah, he's not going to be in the bread line tomorrow just because he missed on the pension. But salute Whit Merrifield. Good career, good Royal, 3-time All-Star, retires, hangs it up, and all the best to 2-Hit Whit. Cool Whit, Whit Bird, whatever you like to call him.
You mentioned that one of those All-Star appearances, not kind of a token appearance. That's fine to me because he got screwed in 2018. He should have been an All-Star in 2018 and wasn't. So I'm fine with a little sprinkle at the end of his career. The way things ended in Kansas City was kind of gross when he was like, well, Because the reason that the whole thing blew up was he was part of the group that couldn't go to Toronto because they didn't get the COVID shot.
There was a big group of players. It was like a dozen, and some members of the coaching staff that didn't. That was when there was still the travel restrictions on the COVID-19 vaccine. You had to have it to go north to play in Toronto. They had a 4-game road set in Toronto. It was right before the All-Star break.
Oh, and man, you want to talk about a skeleton crew and they won one. They won the first game of that series.
They won the first game with like the Omaha Storm Chase.
And the next 3 did not go so well.
Yeah, but Whit Merrifield was one of the players who declined to get the vaccine, and so did not make that trip, and then was traded that same year to Toronto, at which point he did get vaccinated and essentially admitted that, yeah, I probably would have done it earlier and made that trip if those games had meant anything to the team I was on.
And like, look, I'm not.
We're not going to relitigate that debate that led us there all those years ago. But
that's a pretty crappy thing to say.
Yes, to have basically admitted, this was not like a moral stand I was taking for or against the concept of vaccines. I just saw an opportunity to get 4 free days of the All-Star break for a team that wasn't going anywhere, and I took it.
Yeah.
It wasn't worth it.
But that being said...
And it became worth it to him to go play for a playoff team, which the Blue Jays made the playoffs that year, and he was a big part of that.
And he had a really good career with the Royals. He was simultaneously one of the only good things about those teams, but also everything wrong with the way Dayton Moore handled the post-championship years. Like,
because he was the guy who probably should have been traded to maximize his value 3 years before he actually got moved.
He should have been moved in 19 or 21. 2020, I don't think they had a trade deadline. Did they have a trade deadline?
Yeah, there's a trade deadline.
Yeah, he could have been moved any of those years, and it would have made a lot of sense because you know what a lot of teams could have used? Guys who make contact. That would an incredibly useful
guys who
skill,
play every day and can play a bunch of positions and steal bases and hit doubles and they're good clubhouse guys. Like, Whit Merrifield would have made a great trade chip, but I don't know why Dayton Merrifield hung on to him. But no, he was
Dayton Merrifield's very funny though.
Dayton
felt that way for 3 years.
Yeah, kind of did. Anyway, salute Whit Merrifield, hanging it up,
Great
officially
career.
calling it a career, and it was a good one.
All right, first headline for me today. This from the NFL. Aaron Rodgers, quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers, he made an appearance. It's Tuesday. You know, that means he was on with Pat McAfee on ESPN. And he was asked by one of the stooges on that show, is this it? Like, are you going to just kind of play it by ear, play it by, week to week? What's the outlook for your career? And Aaron Rodgers said, quote, I'm pretty sure this is it. And said that there's a reason he only signed a 1-year deal. Said, he straight up said, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he's like, Pittsburgh didn't need to offer anymore. Like, we didn't need to negotiate beyond that. Like, a 1-year deal. I wanted to end my year with a team where I think I'm going to have some fun, respect Mike Tomlin. And the two of them, very well documented, have had a good relationship over the years, despite never working together before. I just said, I want to go have fun, play for a team that I think has a good chance to make the playoffs and, go out on a high note. Quite a wild interview he did overall. He also said that he thinks it's weird that people keep digging in to try to find who it is that he married recently, and then said something to the effect of, she should have the right to privacy. Why aren't people respecting that on the biggest sports network in the world,
brother,
on its most popular daytime show?
You are on TV and behind a microphone all the time. You are addicted to attention.
Also, like, dude, you're the quarterback of one of the premier franchises in all of American sports, and you've been that twice. And the other time, you were in New York. Like, even if you didn't love that stuff, you would always have that attention.
Mm-hmm.
He also said, and this is actually something that I remember him talking about this when he was in Green Bay. I think the big profile he did with Mina Kimes midway through his Packers tenure, he mentioned this, said that when he retires after this coming season, he's out. I'm not going to live a public life. He doesn't want to be a coach. He doesn't want to be on TV. He's going to step back and do things out of public view, which I understand if you doubt that. I do myself, but he has said that for a long time, even before he became like a Looney Tune. So that's that's the story. So if you're Pittsburgh, you already knew it was only going to be 1 year. Like, this is not news to them. But the funny thing is, like, nothing changes long term. Find a quarterback, please. Find someone who's going to be good for multiple years. I I do not get it. I understand why they went with Rodgers when they did, because they didn't have any other options. I think it'll be okay for them. They're not a Super Bowl contender, but they'll probably be a fringe playoff team. But, man, go find a guy who can be your starter for 5 years, please. I'm begging you. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, one more year.
One more year for
do you believe
Aaron
him?
Rodgers. No, I do. I don't think it's going to be up to him. I think I think the game has kind of made that decision for him.
Honestly, and I like, maybe he goes out there and he just looked miserable and it doesn't work. But if I was him, I would much rather be at a point where I say, you know what, I got 8 months left where I'm going to have the ability to do this, and I'm going to play loose, and then I'm going to hang it up before my body falls apart on me. Because let me tell you, man, I remember 2010 for Brett Favre in Minnesota. Yikes.
Yeah, man.
That was sad.
It was, and it didn't end well.
Ended with a concussion against the Bears. Yeah, just you don't want to be that guy. You far fewer guys go out like Elway
or Manning.
Many more go out like Favre. Well, Favre was a unique case, but if you have a chance like Rodgers and you might be able to thread the needle, take it.
Like Joe Namath on the Rams or Johnny Unitas with the Chargers. Like that's much more commonly the story.
Yeah.
Apparently the trick is to be a Bronco.
At least Joe Montana had 2 good years with the Chiefs.
Yeah, he played exceptionally well with the Chiefs. Yeah, and was able to walk away. From the game. And
it's hard to do. It is hard to do that, man.
It most certainly
20
is.
years, Hall of Fame one day, man, pretty good career.
Let's pivot to basketball. The TBT tournament has put out its bracket. That means we know where the alumni teams for KU, K-State, and Wichita State are going to play. They will, of course, be close to home as the tournament expands this year, and there are more regional sites. Wichita and Kansas City are regional sites this year. Kansas City's hosting games at Municipal Auditorium. That is going to rule.
Yeah, it's so cool.
That is where JHX Hoops, the Kansas alumni team, JHX, get it? Jayhawks.
They can't be Mass Street, brought to you by the Mass Street Collective anymore, because that doesn't exist.
Yes.
The collectives are all gone.
Yeah, the collectives are gone thanks to the House settlement. So Jayhawks Hoops, the KU alumni team, they are the number 2 seed in the Kansas City Regional. Their first round opponent will be a team called Off the Hook. They are a New York-based squad known for their gritty street ball roots and high energy play. They ain't got a dude on that roster you've ever heard of. That will be a game on July 19th at 4 p.m. It will follow the 2 p.m. game that day with the number 3 seed, Purple Rain, the K-State alumni team. They have announced participants such as Justin Edwards, DeJuan Gordon, Gordon, excuse me.
Dude, ultimate betrayal on this Purple Rain team.
Are you talking about Cam Martin?
Former Kansas Jayhawk.
Yeah. Cam,
what?
Dominique Sutton, Cartier Jada, also allegedly Jacob Pullen, though they keep saying Jacob Pullen's going to play for one of these teams and he never does.
He doesn't even have a picture on this roster.
I'll believe it when I see it. Players announced for Jayhawks Hoops, by the way, include Billy Preston, David McCormick, Jamari Traylor, Kevin Young, Nick Timberlake, LeGerald Vick, and Cliff Alexander.
Oh, man, who's funnier, Cliff or Nick Timberlake?
Yes.
Dude, this whole team is like, I love Jamari Traylor. I will always. Traylor and Big Dave, Kevin Young, like, great. Billy Preston, Cliff Alexander, and Nicholas Timberlake all on the same team is unbelievably funny.
Look, Billy Preston and leading a KU team deep in the tournament is destiny, is what that is. Purple Rain, by the way, will be playing the number 6 seed, the Shine, a team representing the Shine Pro-Am out of Houston. They don't got anybody you've ever heard of either. The other half of the Kansas City bracket, the number 4 seed, is actually a professional team from England, the Sheffield Sharks. Yeah.
Love that.
They'll be playing against the Guys STL, a group of players from St. Louis, which includes former K-State power forward DJ Johnson as an announced player on the roster.
Wow.
So, DJ going to suit up in the tournament. The number 1 seed who gets a bye in the Kansas City Regional is Heartfire, who won the 2023 title at the TBT. So they've got a number 1 seed and a bye. The Aftershocks, the Wichita State alumni team that always shows well and draws good crowds to Charles Koch Arena in Wichita, they are going to play in the Wichita Regional. They are the number 2 seed. Announced players for this year's edition of the Aftershocks include TBT legends Connor Frankamp, Marcus McDuffie, Richard Kelly, and Trey Wade. And I mean it when I say TBT legends. Those guys always bring it to the TBT.
Always. So sick.
They are going to play the number 7 seed. No excuses. I can't tell you anything about this team, and I can't tell you a thing about any of their players. I got nothing for you on no excuses.
I'm looking. Oh, dude, they've got a guy who currently plays for the Washington Generals.
Nice.
Shaquille Burrell.
Man, you talk about excuses. They're spinning the ball on their fingers, Shaquille. Just take it.
Just take the ball.
Also in the Wichita Regional, the number 1 seed who gets a bye is Forever Cougs. That's your Houston alumni team. Challenge ALS is a team that's been in that tournament quite a bit, raising funds for ALS. Former NCAA tournament cult hero DJ Burns from NC State is on the Challenge ALS roster this year.
Also, we should note, you mentioned the number 1 seed, Forever Cougs. Their roster features Dan Lucero's personal friend, Rob Gray.
Yeah. Rob Gray's going to be there. That means his family's going to be there, which means I need to stay out of press row because they are a danger to me. Them and their pom-poms.
Bonking you on the head.
Austin's own University of Texas alumni team is also in that bracket. So is Fire Family, building on the success of the Potawatomi Fire in the basketball league. Hunter Mickelson is on that team.
Yeah, Hunter's been on a couple different teams in this event. He was on the Arkansas team recently, too.
So is somebody I saw play in high school at Omaha South High School, Nebraska, former Peru State Bobcat and comic book villain Lyle Hexum.
Lyle Hexum.
Yeah, they're going to play against Run DFW, who represents the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Mike Miles, former TCU Horned Frog.
By the way, I don't know if this has been confirmed. I think Frank Mason is expected to be on the JHX team. I think. I know he said he wanted to come back and do it again. I can't remember if that was official or not, but it's none on the roster listed. But he was really good last year. It's been a really good 2-game run.
If you're a basketball fan and you're in the state of Kansas or thereabouts, you can go to Wichita on the 18th and see all of those games. And then on the 19th of July, you can go to Kansas City Municipal Auditorium and see Jayhawks Hoops, Purple Rain, and those other games. So it's a every other day scenario with the Wichita and Kansas City regionals, which is kind of cool. Might get people out to watch those games. So anyway, that's the TBT tournament. That's always kind of a fun guy remembering exercise.
I love the TBT, man. It's so fun. Like, you got to know what you're getting, but it's
it is complete chaos. And like close games at the end with that Element inning, they just turn into rugby. Like
yes, they do.
They don't even resemble basketball after a while. It's total chaos. It can be a lot of fun.
But when there's nothing else going on, it's a good time.
You got one more headline for us?
Yes, one more from the American League Central. This is such a fitting pairing. Former All-Star pitcher Noah Syndergaard has signed a minor league deal with the Chicago White Sox.
Really? I thought he was out making America healthy again.
Syndergaard, 32 years old, has not pitched in the majors since 2023 when he pitched in 18 games between the Dodgers and Guardians. He has a career ERA of 3.71. That was mostly during his heyday with the New York Mets. Royals fans, think you remember those days pretty darn well. Since his heyday with the Mets, though, it's been rough. He's dealt with some injuries, obviously, but he's bounced around time with the Angels, Phillies, Dodgers, and Guardians. He played with those 4 teams all in the course of 2 seasons. He was actually okay with the Angels. 15 starts, worth 1.3 wins above replacement, 3.83 ERA. The rest of them, not very good. He was out of baseball this past year.
He lost the big fastball. He was always a guy that, he had the big fastball. He had that like slider he threw at 94 miles an hour. And stunningly, it burnt out. And he's not going to get it back. There's not enough beef tallow in the world to get that 100-mile-an-hour fastball back.
Man, that 2015, was it? 2016 Mets rotation where they had like all those dudes who looked like they were going to be special for forever. Didn't quite work out that way. Yeah. Jacob deGrom, Zach Wheeler, Matt Harvey,
Steven Matz.
Yeah, bad guy. Noah Syndergaard. Yeah, pretty wild. They had all those dudes and nothing to show for it.
Yeah, man. One pennant. More than a lot of teams get.
That's true.
Out of their talented arms. They did win that pennant in 2015, but Royals fans everywhere saying, yeah, what happened after that? Can we talk about what happened after that?
If you're going to get there, you better win it.
Yep, no guarantee you ever get back. That's for sure. That'll do it for our 580 Sports Talk headlines. We will take a timeout. We'll come back, talk a little Major League Baseball trade deadline. Which Royals most valuable trade piece, if the team were to go in that direction. We'll discuss next on 580 Sports Time. .533 on 580 Sports Talk. About a half an hour left to go on today's show. Royals baseball, 6 o'clock pregame, 6:40 first pitch. Royals and Rays at the K tonight, first of 3. Kylie McDaniel and Jeff Passan of ESPN.com ranked Major League Baseball's top 50 trade deadline candidates, not ranked by value or ranked by value for their new team if traded, not ranked by the likelihood that they will be traded. For example, Alex Bregman is at the top of this list, but they think there's only a 10% chance he gets traded. One, it's a big salary ask, and two, the Red Sox, even though they traded Rafael Devers, Craig Breslow, in his press conference explaining himself, said, I think we could end up a better team and make the playoffs. So I think they're going to push unless they absolutely go into the tank here in the next 2 weeks. It feels like the Red Sox are a team that's in it for 162 games. It's in it for the long haul. But Bregman is certainly would be the best player on this list to get traded if indeed the Red Sox were to start calling around and make him available. Jarren Duran of the Red Sox is second on this list. Miami Marlins starting pitcher Sandy Alcantara, former Cy Young Award winner who's turned a corner after a really bad start to this season, is third on the list and the most likely to be traded among the guys we're talking about. And Freddie Peralta of the Brewers, Eugenio Suarez of the Diamondbacks. And then number 6 on this 50-player list is Seth Lugo of the Royals. This is what McDaniel and Passan write. Lugo has posted mid-300s or lower ERAs for 5 seasons, despite having below-average fastball velocity and good, not great strikeout rates. His ability to strand runners and limit hard contact comes in part due to his 9 different pitches. With a Nathan Eovaldi-type contract awaiting Lugo in free agency, Kansas City could opt to move him, especially if Cole Reagans' injured shoulder doesn't improve. For reference, Nate Eovaldi got $25 million a year on the open market this past season. He got that as a 34-year-old. Lugo will be 35 when he hits free agency. And he got 3 years, $75 million this past offseason from the Rangers. And then the Rangers were the team that knew him best because he'd been on the team the last 2 years. And, he's not a guy who makes every single start, but he's been fairly reliable. And when he's on the mound, he's awesome. He's got a 1.56 ERA this year, but he's spent some time on the injured list and made only 12 starts. So that's the kind of money you're talking about for a pitcher of Seth Lugo's caliber, even one in his mid-30s. He does have an opt-in for next year. It's a player option for next season, which is about $15 million, but
he's going to get 25. He ain't taking that.
No, he's not taking that. So
I like Kansas City too, but if I got 10 million more elsewhere, I ain't staying.
So with the very good chance that the Royals do not retain the services of Seth Lugo beyond 2025, he is the most obvious guy on the roster if the Royals were to turn in that direction of being sellers that they would look to move. But I go back to the point I made at the top of the show, Brendan. I just don't think, unless it gets really, unquestionably stinky, like the Royals lose 20 of their next 28, and they're just completely out of it. Bobby Witt Jr., turns an ankle, and he's out for 3 weeks, and they just dig themselves a hole. I'm not trying to speak any of these things into existence. I'm just saying the scenario would have to be a 0% chance. We are too far behind. There is no catching up. This is a lost season for the Royals to think about selling. I think if there's anything worth fighting for, if there's any kind of chance, if the Royals can see a wild card position from where they sit in the standings by the time mid-July rolls around, not only should they not sell, they should look to buy. And if that means you don't maximize your return for Seth Lugo, you get nothing for Seth Lugo when he opts out and signs somewhere else this offseason, fine. I'm okay with that because you should be maximizing your opportunities to win. And there's no move you make for Seth Lugo that makes you better for this year, and certainly not one where I think you're going to get the kind of return that's going to help you all that much in 2026 either. So to me, that's not a move you make. To me, for the Royals, your captain is aging. Your best player is in his young prime and capable of carrying you for a month at a time when he gets hot. I ride it out. I'm not even thinking about selling unless things get just wretched, god-awful bad here in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, you drop 5 of 6 this week, and things probably feel a little bit different come next Monday, Tuesday, but I'm with you for the most part. I think this is a little bit more complex than some of the past experiences where the Royals should have moved guys because that would have helped.
We just talked about Whit Merrifield being a really obvious trade candidate, but the Royals, decided to extend him instead. And so they had him under contract. It was a reasonable contract, but then they didn't go out and build a winner around Whit Merrifield.
Yeah, and frankly, that was dumb. That was very stupid.
Yeah,
that was just bad baseball management because those teams sucked. There was nothing. At least you can make the argument in 2017 that they did right by the team and the fans and the franchise legends, Hosmer, Moose, and Kane, to stick with those guys, even if it was going to be an uphill climb. I still probably think moving them would have made more sense, but I understand it. This one, I'm in agreement with you, and I get it. Same old Royals, not being proactive. I don't think this is a matter of proactivity, because even at the time, when you knew that it was over for Kane, Hosmer, and Moustakas after that year, you didn't have Bobby Witt Jr. on your team. You didn't have even a guy. You had Sal, but you didn't even have a Vinny who. Could you improve upon him? Sure, but that's a good every day for 6 years kind of player.
There was no next wave because those drafts after the Hosmer, Moustakas, Hoshaver drafts, you ended up with Kyle Zimmer.
They returned.
Ash Russell and guys like that who never amounted to anything.
Russell. Wow, what a throwback. Yeah, so I think that complicates things here and makes me lean more toward you want to keep him unless what hits the fan in a big, big way. I think he's valuable. I think teams would give up a pretty penny to go get him. His peripherals aren't great this year. The advanced stuff, StatCast or fielding independent numbers, those kind of things, they're not great. But even a mid-rotation, third or fourth starter at the trade deadline for a team that needs a starter, they'll pay for that. Big bucks, relatively speaking. They will pay you a pretty penny to get a guy like that.
And the Royals do need an increase in talent at the minor league level. It is not indefensible if the Royals decide, hey, we're 4.5 out of the wild card, but look, we got to move Seth Lugo. And there are instances of teams that have tried to have it both ways. The Brewers do it seemingly every year. Like they trade a starting pitcher and they still manage to make the playoffs. Who was it last year? They made a move like that a couple of years ago, and I'm struggling to remember the details. The Rays do it. Like the Rays last year traded Paredes to the Cubs for Christopher Morel. But like Morel played well for them, and they kind of knocked around the playoff hunt last year. So like it's a hard needle to thread, but I could see it would be a defensible tactic if J.J. Piccolo indeed took it. I just don't think they're going to. I think they're going to stay the course and say, hey, look, we got to try to win. We got to try to win right now while we have these guys, because like there isn't a wave of talent coming that we feel like is going to really solidify this. And it means, I mean, and the broad stroke here is that the Royals are going to be really good and really active in free agency the next couple of years to add to what kind of looks like their core right now of Witt, Caglione, Pasquantino, Garcia, and Reagans at the top of the rotation. Like, if that's your core, that's a good place to start, because Reagans is an ace when he's healthy, and Bobby Witt Jr. is an MVP candidate every year. You're starting, the hard part's done. You got the stars. You're going to have to build around that, and the complementary pieces, those are the pieces that aren't coming. So when you have them on hand, for however long you have them under contract, veteran guys who contribute to winning, who are additive players, you got to try to win with those guys. You owe it to your fans. You owe it to Bobby Witt Jr. I think they're going to stay the course, and I think they're going to be buyers at the deadline, even if there is a stumble. Now, if it's a full-on pratfall, we'll have a different discussion. But even if there is a stumble here in the next couple of weeks, I think they're going to look at that still as an opportunity to buy. The Royals are listed as a best fit for 4 players on this list. I'll run through them real quick. Jarren Duran, not a real good guy, not having the kind of season that he was having last year, but like a solid center field option would be a significant upgrade on Kyle Isbell every day, and could hit leadoff, and you could move Jonathan India down the order. Eugenio Suarez hits a lot of home runs, super vibes and clubhouse guy. He's red hot right now for the Diamondbacks, so they'd be selling high if they tried to move him right now. You'd have to move Maikel Garcia off at third base. So you move him to second base, you're changing his position midstream. That can kind of be tough on a guy, and it might affect his offense. Marcell Ozuna, bad guy.
No.
DH.
Yeah, I'm good.
If you put him in left field and
Jack
Caglione in right field, and you don't have prime Lorenzo Cain in center field, you're going to have a bad time outfield defense.
I think you'd have a bad time even with him. Yeah, everything about Marcell Ozuna to me is a no. I'm out.
Great hitter. Like, a team needs a DH only. Yeah, absolutely. If the Royals were looking for DH bats, sure. They're not. They're looking for corner outfield bats. Taylor Ward comes up again, which is hilarious. We've been talking about Taylor Ward for 2 years. Taylor Ward hits a lot of home runs. Doesn't really add a lot of offensive value beyond the home runs, but the Royals do need home runs, and he's got 19 of them this year.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he's not a league average hitter solely because of the power, because he hits for no average, doesn't walk. I mean, he walks a little bit, but not a ton. He slugs, though. Makes a lot of outs. 279 OBP this year, but a career 324 OBP, which you take that. And he's got an extra year of team control. I still think he makes a lot of sense. I think he'd come fairly cheap. Like, I don't think that's a guy you got to give up Carter Jensen to go. No, I don't think so. I don't think so either. I would like to add one quick caveat on Seth Lugo. I do not think he will be traded, and I think I'm leaning toward he should not be traded. But if you do have the nuclear option and the worst case scenario like we have talked about, I think you could reasonably argue the polar opposite of what we've agreed on. I think if that happens and you have like a 2-12 stretch or some sort of nightmare, I think it goes from probably best not to move him to almost you have to move him.
Yes.
Because if it's over and like you have such a slim chance of making it into the wild card race as a playoff team, I think you owe it again to your franchise to say, you know what, we need pieces. Yeah. We need future bodies, future contributors. Yeah. We need to move him for a couple of guys who can contribute by 2027.
And at that point, it wouldn't be just him. I mean, at that point, you're taking calls on John Schreiber. You're taking calls on Hel Zerpa. You're taking calls on...
I'm glad you mentioned both those guys, because I was going to say that the top 50 list from ESPN, Paston and McDaniel, They have one Royal on there, and it's Seth Lugo at number 6. Nowhere else in the top 50 do they have any Royals listed. Who is the next most valuable guy?
Honest to God, it might be. It's probably Estevez because he's got the extra year on his contract, and he's leading the American League in saves, and teams will always overpay for relief help at the deadline.
Oh,
always.
yeah. I couldn't remember what he signed. It was a 2-year deal.
Should be him.
With a club option on the end. Yeah. You just mentioned that. I'm sorry.
It would be him.
Yeah, that's that would get you plenty, I think. Someone's always going to overpay for a dude like that.
Yeah.
But you give up a guy you gave multiple years to?
Yeah, that's a tough look. You turn around, you trade a guy halfway, half a year into a multi-year deal. Never what you want to do. We'll take a timeout, come back, preview tonight's series opener between the Royals and Rays at the K on 580 Sports Talk. In about 12 minutes, we've got Royals baseball coming your way here on 580 WIBW, FM 104.9. Pre-game coverage from the K before Game 1 of a 3-game series between the Royals and the red-hot Tampa Bay Rays, who've won 27 of their last 41 to shoot to the top of the American League wildcard standings. Our Spencer Dupuis will be at the game tonight, not in an official capacity. He'll be chilling as a fan, but Spence will be there tonight.
This isn't his first time at the K, is
No, it is not. He went last year.
I didn't think so.
I don't remember. Maybe the Nats were in town. We got him tickets. I think that might have been it. But, Spencer's at the K tonight. The rest of us be listening on the radio, watching on television tonight, and then we'll see a good pitching matchup. Chris Bubich, this is the guy you want to set a tone. I'll tell you what. You got a big week at home. You got 6 games. One guy's going to start twice. Right now, I think the choice for the Royals would be Bubich. So that lined up really nice for them. They get to throw him twice in this homestand. 6-4, 212 earned run average. Really strong outing his last time out, bouncing back from that disappointment against the Yankees. Taj Bradley goes for Tampa Bay. ERA near 5, but much better stuff than that. Big fastball, capable of racking up the strikeouts. Talented young right-handed pitcher Taj Bradley. Lineup tonight for the Royals looks like this. Jonathan India at second base will lead off, followed by Bobby Witt Jr., Michael Garcia, and Vinny Pasquantino at first base. Salvador Perez is doing the catching tonight. Jack Caglione's in right field, batting 6th. The Drew Waters in left, batting 7th. John Ray will DH and bat 8th. That's a depressing thing to say out loud. Kyle Isbell batting 9th in center field. Oh, my God, they need another bat so bad.
Yeah, they do.
it crystallizes.
This
every
time of year
you
sucks for teams in the Royals position. Like, well, what do you think about this game? Well, it'd probably go a lot better if they had another bat.
Yeah.
I'd feel a lot better if they had one more dude who could swing.
One more guy in left field who could swing it a little bit, and yeah, you feel a lot better about that lineup. The lineup tonight for Tampa Bay: Yandy Diaz will play first base and lead off, followed by second baseman Curtis Mead. He's Australian. Breakout young star Junior Caminero hits third. He's at 19 home runs. I think he's only like 21. Super young player, Junior Caminero. I want to look up. 21 years old. Born. He'll turn 22 in, let me do the math here, 12 days. I saw some Rays fans on social media saying, please stay away from underage girls. Junior.
Yeah, Wander Franco facing 5 to 10 years in Dominican prison.
Yeah, that's gonna
I had a 0 to both of those numbers personally.
Yeah, that's a bad story. That's the verdict should be coming down on that this week. Anyway, Junior Caminero plays third, bats third. Jonathan Aranda, who's batting .325 for the Rays this year, big left-handed bat. He's DHing and batting cleanup. Jake Mangum is in left field. Jose Caballero is in right field. So they have a Caminero and a Caballero. Not confusing at all. Danny Jansen is the catcher, batting seventh. Taylor Walls plays short and bats eighth. Chandler Simpson, just called back up from AAA. He's the fast guy, like the really fast guy. He's playing center field and batting ninth.
I was confusing Caballero the other day with Carlos Lee, who his nickname, at least from Hawk Harrelson, was El Caballo, which is the horse.
I get them confused with the Canyonero, the SUV that Homer Simpson bought in post-Glory Years episode of The Simpsons. But he didn't want it because it was the ladies' edition, so he gave it to Marge, and Marge started driving really aggressively because it was a big SUV. And I think Hank Williams Jr. sang the Canyonero jingle. Canyonero, Canyonero. I think of that when I see Junior Caminero's name.
Right now, who's the World Series favorite?
In the American League?
In baseball.
I'm sure it's
who would you say is the favorite? Who should be the favorite?
The Dodgers, because they hit and they'll figure it out on the mound.
I was going to say, even with the arm shredding factory in full effect,
they'll get enough of those guys back healthy, and Ohtani will be up to like 80 pitches per outing by the playoffs. Yeah, it's still the Dodgers until further notice.
Yeah, it's the Dodgers.
I'm just going to check one sports book off the top of my head and see if I can find the futures odds. I won't say which one, but fans duel over there. It's the Dodgers plus 220, the Yankees plus 650, the Tigers plus 850.
Wow, that's quite a disparity for 1 and 2.
Yeah,
holy cow.
No, fun answer is the Phillies. They pitch really well, but man, it's the Dodgers. Everybody wanted to be one way, but it's the other way.
Yeah.
Take a timeout, come back with a final word, wrap up this edition of 580 Sports Talk. little Tuesday show today. Let's end it on a high note. Brendan Warzinski, final word.
Final word for me today is I think the NFL kind of sleeps on Rashee Rice. And I understand the concern about the start of this upcoming season because it's hard to come back from a torn ACL. Even if you're back on the field, it might be hard to be back at 100%. But he's a bona fide number one. I am certain of that. And I'm excited for this Chiefs offense to maybe take another step forward. I think that kind of depends on Andy Reid as much as anyone. But sixth best supporting cast in the AFC, I think that's a little bit too bearish from the Athletic Football Show.
Final word for me. You got to be fired up if you're a Royals fan for this week. It's a big week. Maybe you're a little nervous. Maybe you're a little anxious. Maybe you got a pit in your stomach because this could be a defining week in a negative way if it goes left for the Royals. But if the Royals are able to prove their mettle against the hottest team in the American League in Tampa Bay and the best team in all of baseball in the Los Angeles Dodgers, they'll have shown that they still have bona fide playoff hopes as the season flips from the first half to the second half and the calendar turns, from June to July. Should be a fun week of baseball at the K. It starts tonight, pregame coverage right when we're done, 6 o'clock, and the first pitch at 6:40 tonight at Kauffman Stadium between the Royals and the Rays. That'll do it for us. We're back tomorrow from 3 until 6. For Brendan Dworzynski, I'm Dan Lucero. This has been 580 Sports Talk on 580 WIBW. Royals baseball is next. Good night.